Working. Yeah. We're live. Are we live? I hope we're live. We might be live. We are live. Hello, everyone, as some might say. Not me though. I've never said that. But yeah. Hey, we're live. Jab's supposed to be here. He isn't. That's Neb, FYI, pretending to be Neb. Not to be Neb. Yeah, Neb is pretending to be Neb. No, that's pretending to be Jab. But red Jab. So yeah, that's what we have today. Hey, Tien and Zod, how you doing?
I'm good.
Hi.
I'm proud of you, Tien. Okay. Zod,
Hi.
I need you to answer me a question, and I need you to do it, like, with full sincerity. Why did you watch Quantumania? Why would you do that to yourself?
I was very morbidly curious, and yeah, it did. It went as well as I knew it would, but I did it anyway.
You know, that's like walking out in front of the freeway and being shocked you got hit by a truck.
But I'm not shocked. That's
Yeah, I think the thing is just, like, being curious what being hit by a truck would feel like. Like, Zod wasn't shocked that they were hit by a truck, just that, how bad it felt. He didn't know exactly how bad the feeling of being hit by a truck would be. It's a more apt analogy, I feel.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
That covers it.
So yeah, and the Wasp, Quantumania was shit. We were gonna talk about it with Jeb. He's not here, but he's watched it as well, and I obviously watched it, as you saw. As if you follow me on Twitter, you saw my meltdown. So you know.
And I saw it in this group chat.
Yeah.
And it was.
It was a fun night. Look, I don't think I've ever been so, like, disappointed with, like, humanity than I was that night. Well, no, that's not true. When I watched Lucy, I was way worse. If Neb remembers, I literally said, like, I don't know what I can do with my life moving forward. So it's probably worse. Oh my God, Zod was hit by a truck. Oh, you meant Superman Zod. No, So we didn't, and also this Zod was not hit by a truck. It was an analogy, but that's sure. I would say I'd be okay with General Zod being hit by a truck, but that wouldn't do anything to him, considering he's what's his face, Kryptonian. So yeah, he's gonna be in the Flash film, right? That's
Yeah, he's the main villain of the Flash film. The Flash's most gracious arch nemesis, General Zod.
That's gonna be fun. Jesus. If you can tell, I'm wasting time to see if Jab joins. It's Jab, but oh shit, yeah, I forgot to fucking post the thing in the ECUM server. I apologize. Here we go. Add everyone. Good, we did it. But yeah. Oh, we should talk about this DC slate actually for a bit, because we haven't actually mentioned it, because the last ECUM we did was before.
We were gonna make it the top of the stream, but it was basically the same as the last stream, so it just redundant.
Actually wasn't the last stream. I really realized that after I went to check. It would be like through 3 streams ago. Because I think it was 61. It was discussing James Gunn's DCU plans and Full Fat Video's Big Brain, and then we did the Drinker stream and then the MatPat stream. I thought it was the last one. Apparently not. Apparently that one was like the first stream we did of the year, but still, it would be kind of like rehashing the same topics.
It was basically the same thing, except we actually know what's happening now. But like, it's still fair enough to talk about just in like a tangent. And that's
wait, is that Jeff?
Yes, it's him.
No, it's not. Why would you think that's Jeff? Shit, Neb even changed his name on Discord, but because I have a fucking nickname for him, you couldn't trick me. But anyway, wait. Yeah, okay. Anyway, yeah, this isn't Jab yet. He might show up. Lucy is in the ScarJo movie. Yes, that film. We did an ECUM on it. It'll come out at some point in the future. But that fucking hell, that was awful. MatPat 1 was the first of the year. It was not. It was the third of the year. But yeah. So not ECUM. James Gunn. You can see why I would get those two confused. James Gunn released his plans for the first, like, I don't know if phase is the right word, but like the first part of the DCU and his plans for it, and they seem quite interesting. I don't really know what to say from the top of my head, but I imagine Tin has a few things to say. She likes the DC, so
Well, I'm mostly interested in it because it's like getting the heavy hitters out, like reintroducing Batman, Superman, that, and like I assume the Wonder Woman TV show is going to reboot her as well because I highly doubt they're going to keep Gal Gadot around.
mm.
Like, but the thing that's my main worry is the sort of stuff like
Neb's profile picture.
oh fuck off.
Sorry, go on, Tin.
Is I guess what they're gonna do with the bridge with the last DCU, because like he said it's like not everything is out of the picture, and like he said he's asked Ezra and all that lot if they can come back, and it's like
I don't think they mentioned they asked Ezra. I think the situation was they don't know what they're gonna do with Ezra yet because they're focusing on their recovery. With the other actors like Ben Affleck and shit, I think they asked them, like Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot.
Yeah, it's just like I do have full faith in him, but it's just I really prefer to cut all ties with the last DCU. Like, it's just personal preference, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I'm really interested in like a few things. Like I really am curious about the Swamp Thing movie because making like a big budget Swamp Thing like horror film, fucking hell, I love that. That's a great idea. Like just like starting the slate with like a horror film, like very different from the other shit we'd see from DC. I like that a lot. Also, the Lanterns TV show, I think it would be really interesting because it'll be a TV show with Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, and it's basically gonna be a True Detective with the Lanterns. Like that's an amazing pitch. I love that. I'll watch the fuck out of that.
I mentioned this as well, but I like how they're wearing their inspirations on their sleeve. Like how, I guess with like the Batman, they said like, oh, it's a neo-noir detective story where in the Paradise Lost, it's very much based on Game of Thrones, and like Lanterns, it's based on True Detective. It's like it actually feels inspired by shit, is what I mean. Like it's like actually feels like
there's a reason why they're telling these stories, basically.
Yeah. Whereas when you take like Marvel, where it's like they say they're inspired by something, but it's buried between 12 other different things.
It's kind of like how I don't remember who it was. Someone who was involved with making Jurassic World Dominion said that the dinosaur in that film was kind of like Joker, and I found that hilarious.
Like he just wants to like cause chaos or something.
Chaos, yeah. Man, that was amazing. Also, if you want to know why Jeb is green, chat, all will be answered tomorrow. Though Jeb hasn't shown up yet. That is his profile picture in the thumbnail. Also, Nab, fuck you. Why did you make that like gradually, like, whatever? Anyway,
it's the fact that I just looked in closer at my screen and I just saw poos like gradually come in.
Yeah. One thing that I really like as well is the idea of the Waller show. Just because Peacemaker characters will be fun. I like Waller as a character, and having like Viola Davis reprise her role was awesome. So that'll be interesting to see. I like that.
Yeah, like even if it was going to be the same version, I still think they should have kept the casting because, like, I guess Full Fat mentioned it, but she's kind of like J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. It's like too perfect to ever just need to recast.
Yeah. But she's barely a character anyway, so like it actually affects
her. It's like they only just give her a character in the Suicide Squad. Like they might as well carry a few things over. Like it's hard to say like they should cut off everything when like the few good things that are there are shit that James Gunn has made himself, and like it's a weird little neutral spot.
Yes. I'm willing to give James Gunn's universe a go, but I'm not looking forward to it. I hope it's good. The Flash movie looks awful, IMO. The Flash movie looks like a mess, but that's not like a James Gunn thing, obviously, because it's still part of the current DCU state. The first thing that's going to come out is the Superman Legacy film, right? Which is like, is it 2025?
Like apparently, like I think so. Stuff will come out beforehand, but this will be like the big sort of kickoff event. Like this will be like for uh, it's hard to describe. Like I guess the other stuff won't be as like well known, but like making a new Superman film will be like what really gets everyone's eyes on it, and like that's when they'll show it, see
Oh
it in
yeah,
the
yeah, that's
universe.
what Saffron said. This is really the launch of the DCU. The first two projects are an amuse-bouche for what's coming up with Superman Legacy, and it'll be released in July 11th, 2025. And so the first two projects are Waller and Creature Commandos, and Waller is like following up on Peacemaker. So let me just see
Yeah.
something. Yeah, and Creature Commandos is going to be released before that, and it'll be animated. Okay, okay, now I get what they're doing the way they're doing. Okay, that's cool.
And I'm a little interested in what they're going to be doing with Batman because like I always suspect that they're going to go for like a different actor and like a different version for that universe, but
Jansen Echoes.
like but like having Damien be the first one, and this is just assuming that they're using Damien as like before Robin. Does that mean that this Batman's as pre-established as Batfleck? Because going 20 years in on their first appearance was not the best move the last time round. So
I mean, I very much doubt that's what they're doing. I think people assume just because it's Damien, but it's like they obviously can change the order of the Robins. I find it silly to
yeah,
believe that like this Batman would be like Batfleck age.
it's like because I assume the Superman will be around like 25 to 30ish. Like if they're going for that young,
Mm-hmm.
I can just like if they want to maintain like an age gap between them, I expect like Batman will be like I don't know around like just a few years older. Like because I always imagine Batman's older. Like everyone says, oh, they should be similar ages. I always imagine he's like
Yeah,
5ish years older.
me too. I think he's always like slightly older than Superman in my head.
It's like
Just thinking how
it,
it helps a bit with the character like knowing so much and having a little bit more experience with than Superman. I think it makes sense.
like even in like everyone praises the DCU was like the blueprint, but even then Batman was older by like I think like 10 years at least.
Yeah.
It's like that's always been around, and like I'd be interested in what they actually do because like back for the first stream, like James Gunn's stream, I had like a doc where like for a while you don't actually give Batman a solo film where he's like more of a ensemble character. Like I sort of that's how I imagine they do it, but like if they're going all in with it, then like it'd be interesting how like they go in like go into the deep end with this sort of stuff if you're going this pre-established.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I doubt it'll be like super pre-established, but it does seem like it'll be a bit because there will be like Bat family characters in that film.
And like
And obviously Damian being Batman's son. It's an interesting one.
like if you had to ask me, I imagine they'll skip out on Tim Drake because like ideally you'd want Nightwing and you'd want like Jason to presumably be dead or already Red Hood. Like that's for sort of that's like the main point you need for a Batman sort of story.
Mm.
Or maybe
It's
like
kind of interesting though because I would really like an adaptation of Death in the Family that's like well done. I know the comic isn't like great, but like I really love like seeing that story like told well of Joker fucking up what's to say? Is it Jason Todd? I always confuse the names.
Jason Todd.
Yeah, fucking up Jason Todd and all that comes with it, and like, cause like I like the idea of him. Just said a boosh a few minutes ago. For fuck's sake, Neb. I like the idea of him in Arkham Knight. I don't think it's poorly done or anything. Um, I just would like to see that in a way that like explores a bit more like of his perspective as a character. You know, like from Jason's
Yeah, like
Todd's point of view. I think that would be cool.
like I think if you anime a film, they bring up like why the hell haven't you killed Joker? And like Arkham Knight brings up how did you replace me so quickly? Because like I think it was like even the New 52 where it implied that like Batman went through all his Robins in the span of like 6 years. Like, but and like if I guess if they do somewhere like Damien is the third Robin after Jason's dead, you could definitely like see like just how quickly he replaced him and realize, oh yeah, Batman's not exactly not exactly the best father, to be honest.
I mean, you could do a lot with Batman as a character, just exploring the idea of Damian, like replacing Jason Todd like that.
And
with him kind of like Batman trying to keep shit out of his mind just to like continue the fight, but not like thinking about it because it's like too painful or something. Like there was one trauma to stop him or anything. Like there's a lot you could do with the character, and I think James Gunn running the universe is the kind of thing where like thankfully we will get things that explore these characters in like actually meaningful ways because James Gunn is way more focused on like the character writing than like the big spectacle things, like you know the big universe shit. Like the Guardians films are completely disconnected from like the larger MCU. Like they mention a few things that they're like you know like oh the Celestials and shit. They're like or the Infinity Stones, but they're not like directly affecting like the main plot. You know they're not taking place on Earth at all. They only go to Earth in Endgame, which by the way they should have mentioned something about the Guardians being on Earth in Endgame because you know Quill hasn't been to Earth since his mom died. Anyway, I'm going off topic. The point is, I like the character writing from James Gunn, and I think if he runs this universe the way I assume he will, the focus on the DCU is going to be way more on character, and so I like the idea of thinking about like these opportunities to tell stories like with Batman and whatnot. They're way more focused on exploring like the character of him than just having like a BVS type film where it isn't really a character exploration more so than just like oh fighting Superman. That's the spectacle.
it's just like that. Well, like you can learn from like both what the last DC did and what Marvel's doing because like the upside is that like they basically gave the keys to the entire DC universe to a controversial madman, and Marvel is basically just ran by someone who wants a checklist of what to do, of big events and stuff. Whereas here you have like someone who does creative side and like a business side, which is like a smart way to do, and it gives us like actual like character focused stuff. Then yeah, it's a well needed bit of fresh air, especially since like the film which just came out, which seems to just be a complete disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, Quantumania is like extremely like indicative of the problem currently at Marvel, honestly. Um hold on. Hey Sheev. Sheev's in chat. Hey. Are you excited to be featured on ECUM tomorrow, Sheev? It's gonna be great. But yeah. I don't know. It's just like because it's so funny because I'm looking to add the MCUs later and I'm thinking, man, I'm actually really excited for what's to come. And then I look at like what Marvel is doing and I watched Quantumania and I'm like so tired of Marvel just in general. Like why can't they do anything right? You get like a Rick and Morty writer that wrote some like really great episodes and he copies his own concepts and other concepts from Rick and Morty in this one film and he fucks them all up. Like I don't get it. It's tiring.
Yeah. Like,
Same thing with fucking Michael Waldron as well. Sorry, but yeah, he also worked with Jen Harmon in Community. It's just sad. Not Community,
like,
Rick and Morty.
Because well, technically, Multiverse of Madness was my last sort of MCU film, and I guess She-Hulk was the last bit of MCU content that I watched. Like,
You're welcome for watching She-Hulk.
But like, I think utterly just not giving a shit about an MCU film coming out and just getting off my life while it happens. It's probably like very indicative of my feelings on it, where I'm ready to leave it behind.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm ready to admit that it's just I can move on from it. I can move on from talking about it and stuff. It's just we have like a much more a DC universe which has a lot more promise.
Yeah.
When
the DC films come out, we're gonna do a lot of ECUMs that'll be way more interesting than any of the ones we've done for Marvel for the last year.
Like, you know how, like, for pretty much all of 2021, all we did was cover Marvel TV shows and stuff? And how, like, by the end, we were very just sort of kind of sick of it?
Yeah.
Unironically, if DC does a lot of content, I will not get sick of that shit if it's done by James Gunn. Like, I will happily talk about that shit all day.
Yeah. Interestingly, though, did you see Peacemaker?
I still haven't because like
that's funny considering what you just said.
I'm a bit hypocritical, but it's just like pirating shows and that because HBO Max seems to hate the UK. Like
Look,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
if you need pirating, I already said I can help you. I mean, I won't pirate. I've never pirated in my life, but if you need a way to watch the show, I already told you I can help you a few times. So don't worry about it. Just let me know if you actually want to watch it, and I'll send it to you. My HBO at Max login. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna send. Um, sorry, your reaction to Quantum Mania sounds like drivel. Yeah,
That's a way to put it. Yeah.
yeah. That film is just pointless and sad and depressing. I don't even. It's just. I wanted Jab to be here because I know his reaction would be amazing, but it feels like a parody of itself, and not in like a funny way, but in a way where like it's so bafflingly bad that you cannot believe that they're doing it like what they're doing is like earnest, right? That they're doing it like, oh no, yeah, that's fine, that makes sense. Like, we're telling a story. It's like none of the characters have like character. Like I don't think any character has any like arc in this film at all, other than MODOK. But I'm not gonna count that as a fucking arc. I'm sorry, but
Well, they've got the jelly. You've got the jelly thing with the holes. That's.
oh yeah,
an
that's
arc.
an arc. He gets shot up, fucking up. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if you guys care about spoilers for Quantumania. If you do, I'm gonna
You
spoil it
shouldn't.
now. But yeah, you shouldn't. But basically, there's this like jello being that like there's a running joke about the fact that he doesn't have holes and is fascinated by the fact that humans like Scott have holes. And so there's a moment later in the film where he gets shot by Kang's soldiers, guardians, robots, whatever they are. And he's like, I have holes, which is the obvious joke, obviously. But then somehow he turns the holes into like a big mouth where he sucks in all the Kang soldiers. And that's it. We never see him again in the film. I don't. It's just random shit happening. It's like in fucking Lucy when you're like, oh no, she's gonna get shot up now that she's in this hallway with like 15 people aiming a gun at her, and she's just like, oh, actually, I have telekinesis, and I can. Oh, not telekinesis. I can make everyone pass out by like snapping my fingers, and that's what she does. It's so sad.
I just really like how they marketed the whole thing with like, you know, witness the beginning of a new dynasty and whatnot, and all it actually did was establish the same sort of stuff Loki did anyway, and the Kangness in it is now gone. So,
Yeah. I think I said when I finished the film, but that's just it didn't achieve anything. This is a filler episode because it's re-establishing what happened in Loki, which is that Kangs are coming, multiversal war is coming, which we already know, and they killed the one Kang that is actually part of the film. Like Loki killed He Who Remains. This film kills Kang the Conqueror. They're both dead, so they're not the threat anymore. So the threat they were building is still the same that we've been building since Loki. It's just so it's so tiring. It's a pointless film. There's nothing that is achieved at all by that film. Like, not a single thing. I guess the mid-credit scene establishes the Council of Kangs, but like, I'm sure that's gonna be a thing in Loki season 2, so I see the point anyway.
Like,
2 hour film for a post credit scene, right?
I think like it's like an issue I have like sort of multiverse stuff where like they use it as a cop out, but like saying oh this character died, so we'll bring another multiverse version, like another universe version where like
It's like the say to
at what
Doctor
point- at
Strange,
what
it's
point-
like, Dormammu, I've come to bargain, but instead of being the same Doctor Strange repeating the loop, it's just they bring in a new Doctor
yeah,
Strange.
it's just like
The multiversal pit, like the Wong pit.
it just takes away like any actual sort of I don't know, I guess sort of tension, I guess, or something. But like it just uses the multiverse concept as like a get out of jail free card.
Yeah, it's like, oh, maybe we wasted this character. Don't worry, you can bring them back. Which is like, I'm so glad the Guardians 3 is acknowledging that Gamora is a different person who has experienced a lot of different things. The trailer makes a big point about how Quill and Gamora do not get along because this is 2014 Gamora. And also, I love the joke at the end where, who says it? I think it was Daniela Melchior, right? Who was like, oh, it sounds like you're in love with Nebula, actually. Like, she sounds way more like the person you love. And then he looks at Nebula and he's like, oh man, your eyes. Like, he starts finding her pretty. And I'm like, yeah, that's hilarious, actually. Because Nebula has gone through the arc in Guardians 2 and whatnot, but Gamora still hasn't because she's in 2014 Gamora. I like that a lot. It's like, oh, actually, this character is different. Well done. It's almost like there is a difference when you travel the multiverse. You do have pretty eyes. No, Neb, not you. The good Nebula. Did you enjoy when Lucy became a USB? Oh yes, it's so great. She becomes the universe and all the knowledge in the universe, and then she becomes a USB, so Morgan Freeman can like use it to do something. I don't know. All I see online is, oh my god, can't wait to see what's next. That's all the MCU is now. What's actually in the show or movie doesn't matter. It's always the anticipation for what's next. Yeah, it's so tiring. Like, I get that we're building up to something, but like, Avengers and Age of Ultron built up to something while actually telling like a story of its own, you know? And like, despite Civil War having many problems, it actually like built on the story of Age of Ultron, told its own story, and had effects on Infinity War. Like, the Marvel until like Endgame, they had some idea of like what the point of the films were. Like the Ant-Man films, no, they were all pointless. But you know, that's Peyton Reed for you.
Like, as flawed as like the early MCU was, at least there was a reason why it was the peak of like the best way to do a cinematic universe. But whereas like once like they finished that story, they seemingly just
they lost track of what they were actually like supposed to do, to actually like tell the full story. Because like these movies, they're supposed to be like self-contained things, but also that like build little pieces moving forward. But these films, they just seem like there's no point. They aren't telling their own story. Like Shang-Chi, do you think Shang-Chi has like an arc in his film, or that he's a character? Like, there's nothing meaningful about his story. The entire point is to set up the 10 Rings as like, you know, a tool for the next phase of the MCU.
Yeah, exactly. It's just how's the best way to put it? Like, at least with like sort of like Iron Man's trilogy, where like that can function as like a pretty cohesive trilogy. Even you just need to know what happened in Avengers.
Yeah.
Whereas you take something like, I don't know, like say any trilogy they make now, you need to know everything that's going on and like everything that they're going to build to. It just feels like...
Yeah, imagine the only films you've watched in the MCU are Ant-Man and the Wasp, and now Quantumania. Like, you've only seen the Ant-Man films. You'd be so fucking confused. You'd lose your mind. There's no way you can understand anything that's going on, honestly.
Yeah, it's why I'm super grateful that the Batman has basically brought back standalone superhero franchises, so like it can have its own trilogy, and you don't have to like watch several other movies in between to understand where they are and what they're doing and all that. Like it's so annoying because like take like 10-ish, 20-ish years from now, like the same analogy as Black Adam, where like after all the superhero craze is done and like all the cinematic universes have died out, and you just sit down and watch like one trilogy out of all these separate films, and you have no idea how the hell they connect. It's just super annoying. Like it's just for as bad as like standalone superhero franchises could be, at least they had like a focused sort of trilogy going on. They didn't rely on like on other events to build to other events and other events like going on their universe. It's just I'm rambling, but like
yeah, I get what you mean. I'm just laughing because someone in the chat said, "Hello, this is my first viewing of a live ECUM." Also, hi Jab. What do you think of Sonic Frontiers? Jab isn't here, so I'm sorry. Nab is doing the joke of that we need to unlock Jab as a character because he just hasn't shown up. We don't know if he will. So yeah, but just found that funny. But yeah, no, it's just like if you think about like what the best comic book films that came out, like after Guardians 2, it would be like what, Eternals, Joker, and the Batman. Two of those are standalone films, right? They're in their own universe that don't connect to anything else. So I don't know, man. At this point I'm just so tired of connected universes. Just tell your own story.
It's funny how the history of superhero films has gone out where like they started off mainly standalone because like everyone sold their rights everywhere and like they didn't think of an idea of a cinematic universe. Then the MCU comes out and everyone tries to do the exact same thing. Like they say the fucking Dark Universe. Like everyone tries to, even the Spider-Man villain universe as well. Like everyone tries to
Oh
do it.
yeah, they're doing that.
And
I keep forgetting that
and
like Morbius is in the same universe as Venom.
yeah, and like and like 10 years on from like the, I guess like the start of the phase 2 of MCU, which is where like everyone tried to get on it. Now everyone's just sick to death of the concept.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like every other sort of phase you see in cinema, like shaky cam or like the black leather from the Matrix. Like it's just like a phase. You just sort of look back on like, really, we did that.
It feels the sad times. Jab's my favorite member of ECUM. Wow, hurt our
Oh,
feelings.
oh,
No,
oh,
Oh.
gee, thanks.
no, I'm joking. Don't worry. But yeah, I don't know. Jab said he was gonna show up. He didn't. So we don't really know what's happening. So, but he will give you a big hug next time we stream. I'm sure of it. I'll remind him of it. What's everyone's
Should we-
favorite MCU film, TV show? Phase 4. I mean, Eternals. It's like the only good one. So
Eternals.
Oh,
like,
phase
that's-
4, yeah.
It's the only thing that's actually any good.
yeah, it's easily Eternals. I don't. There's not that's not competition at all. I guess episode 5 of What If was good. Like one episode of what was it, 10 episode season was good. So that was probably the best TV show. To be fair, the first 2 episodes of Miss Marvel were good, which are the only ones I've seen. So that's it. I also haven't seen Morbius actually. I don't think
Yeah,
I will.
it's just. I laughed at the memes the first time around, but once they re-released the film, thanks to the memes, I was like, yeah, it's run its course.
Mm.
Plus, the bloody post-credit scene, like where like
That one is so
they
funny.
where it's the exact same situation as Black Adam, where they try to cross over with another character, set up a movie that'll never happen, and 10 years from now, when you look at that post-credit scene, you're gonna wonder, what happened? Especially since like the most vague reference to Spider-Man were like, I don't know how I got here. It must have something to do with Spider-Man.
It's so funny because it makes no sense. Like he should never be thrown into that universe. Also, that became a bean or a seed or something, and he's probably gonna grow into like a tree or some shit. That's my guess. Fourth ECUM host, a bean. It is a bean. Okay, Neb confirmed it. Good. All right. Well, we've wasted half an hour talking about Marvel and DC. Just waiting for
And
Jeff to
so-
get here, and he hasn't.
Should we
Oh yeah,
do
Halloween
the-
special. That was a thing, right? But does that count as part of like any phase? Because I thought phase 4 ended with like She-Hulk, or kind of forever. If it does, then yeah, a holiday special and Eternals are the best.
Yeah, also them.
Oh yeah, also No Way Home. Fuck No Way Home. it's
Yeah,
fair if
yeah,
you
no,
like
like-
it, but I don't like it. And Moon Knight, it got shit a lot in the finale. It was a really weird show, very inconsistent.
Mm.
It's insufferably inconsistent. Some could say even.
Ayo.
Yeah.
Come on. You should have seen that joke coming. Morbius would be hilarious to do an ECUM reaction to it, like Wonder Woman 1984. He'll have a lot of copyright problems, but still. I mean, Zod, do you want to add a Morbius ECUM?
I mean, I doubt it.
Oh,
Like,
you can sense the pain on that laugh from Zod. Look, at least you have
I've
a
already just seen
break.
it once.
You at least have a break because you're editing F9, and that film is fucking hilarious. It's probably a blast editing it, honestly. It's not Wonder Woman 1984.
True. It probably would be very fun to edit once I actually get to it.
Yeah. Were you saying something, Tin?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, like, from what I've heard, people have watched it, like, the novelty of, like, the meme kind of wears off, like, instantly. Like, yeah, there's the whole Morbin time meme and how, like, all that stuff, but aside from that, it's just, apparently it's just a very painfully average superhero film.
I think average is a generous way to put it.
Painfully meh is probably better.
No,
Painfully painful.
there we go.
Sure. Is F9 the next one? That's great. We don't actually know. It depends on... Because we have a few people editing a few different ECUM films, ECUM extras that we did on films, and it depends on who gets it done first. Odds working on their own video in the meantime. And Britt I don't know what Brit's doing. He might be editing an ECUM, he might not. Who knows at this point? So I don't really know when the next ECUM extra that isn't Flash will come out. Yeah, but after season 9 ends, I'll probably get to work editing a few of them. But F9 is one that I am excited to get out because that one is so fun. The Christmas special is phase 5, and so is that man. Okay, so Christmas special is phase 5. Okay, cool. It's good to know.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, so alright. Also, someone asked about the Dead Space remake. I've not played Dead Space, the original or the remake. I don't know if you have, Zod, or anything.
No, I've not played either of them either. But
it just sounds like a thing you would do. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I've been watching the discourse around it and all that, and it's quite funny.
Yeah, they asked if we play horror games. What do we think of the Dead Space remake? And that's the best horror game remake since RE1 on GameCube, which I wouldn't know about, but I've heard great things, so that's cool.
Yeah, based on everything I've seen about it, because like I watched Mauler do his playthroughs of the original and the remake. It does look a lot like it's a like extremely like faithful remake that makes changes that are actually like beneficial and like modernize it in like just in all the best ways, really.
Yes, that's what I've heard as well, but I've not really been a huge part of the discourse because I want to play those games for myself. Anyway, I think we're ready to talk about Wisecrack now. I think we did it. I think we waited for Jeb as long as we could.
We're gonna do the recommendation corner, or are we?
Oh
skipping
yeah,
that?
I completely forgot because we can't. The point of recommendation corner is to wait for people to arrive and like give time for shit like that. We already did that, but anyway, we can do recommendation corner. 10. What's your recommendation?
Right. Well, you know how earlier Jed mentioned he was going to do a book.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, I've got a book here that I recommend.
No.
I was gonna do it first, bitch.
You grabbed the book. I could hear you slapping it.
Well, last night, for Christmas, I got the novelization of Rose, which is the first episode of Doctor Who written by Russ Davies, and like 3 years back he did a book based on it, and I finished it last night, and I very much recommend it. Like, I tried recommending it to Zod, and he said, "I don't read. Shut up."
That's fair.
But
Sorry, I'm too autistic.
That's why I do audiobooks. But anyway, sorry. Go on.
Like, even after like a rewatch episode like a few months back, it does have a lot of really good surprises and stuff, and like a good few changes. Like, not to give anything away because I recommended it, but like, sort of Clive's shed where like he talks about the Doctor, that's a treasure trove of like updates and Easter eggs and that. Like, and there's one in the 3rd act which like caught me completely off surprise, which I love. And it's just really neat to see it go in more detail, like how at the start, how like after the explosion at the shop, like it goes into how Rose is basically traumatized from that, and how she has to claim insurance from it. Like it goes into a lot more detail, which is great, and also I just love Rusty Davies' writing style. Even in book form, it's really, really just fun to read. It was like it was really breezy. Like you can finish a couple chapters within like an hour or so. It's that just engaging to read. So heavily recommend it, and I'm definitely gonna check out the rest of the series because they've done like I don't know, like 15-ish of episodes. So yeah, that's my recommendation.
Yeah, because that's the good thing about the like novelizations like that, where you can sort of revisit these older episodes, but like with more sort of, because like you've had all the other episodes that have come out since, and so you can go into it with that future context, and so you can sort of adjust things and just make things line up in a more a better way, I suppose.
And also you can kind of fix like a few things. Like one of my sort of favourite things I've heard is that the Twice Upon a Time thing fixes the sexist First Doctor thing by saying he was just fucking with 12.
Oh my god, that makes so much sense with the First Doctor's characterization as well. I love that. Oh, that's great. That's fucking amazing. I love that. Oh man, it's great. Right.
Yeah, I'm watching the episode of that headcanon now.
Yeah, I've heard there are
But
people.
yeah,
I think the not TROS. Revenge of the Sith. ROTS. Okay, that's why I got confused. Revenge of the Sith novelization, I think, is one as well that a lot of people talk about how much better it is in terms of like a storytelling perspective than the film. That it adds a lot, and it fixes a few
and like
things.
it also like fixes like the dialogue and like other stuff. It like because like with a book you can like flesh things out a little bit more and like you can because like you can fix a lot of stuff and like and it just fills in a lot of the gaps which I appreciate.
Yeah,
And you can even and like you can even throw because like I haven't read it specifically, but I heard that like for the third Transformers film they actually like put in the original ending because like the only reason they put in the ending of the film is because it leaked and they panicked and because everyone was hated it. So like they put the original in the novelizations to like because it's just a much more cohesive ending.
yeah. Say so. I wouldn't know. All right. You done with your recommendation?
Yeah, I'm all done.
Alrighty. So, see, the thing is, my recommendation is also a book, a Doctor Who book. So I think there's something wrong with all of us. But mine's an audiobook, the Big Finish one. So here's the thing. I recently got into audiobooks, been using Audible because I can listen to books, so I can read shit while doing other things. It's perfect. I love it. Like generally, I'm not sponsored by Audible. I wish we were, but it's useful. I really like it. It's helping me a lot. And so I got the 10th Doctor Adventures. Is that what it's called with him and Donna? I think it is. Yeah. And it's like a collection of all those stories. And I've heard the first two, which is Technophobia and Time Reavers. And I want to recommend Time Reavers because I think it's really, 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 really cool story. Um, I think the way he characterizes 10 especially is really, really cool because it deals a lot with like his sense of superiority that he has, as the 10th Doctor, and he's always had in RTD's era, which was really interesting to see. And he deals like with him running from time a lot as well, especially in the ending, which I won't spoil. But it's a really cool story and uses a really interesting mechanic, which is like there's this gun that like the way that it is used as a way to like torture or like basically destroy someone's mind. That if you shoot them with it, which is called a time reaver, it makes them experience time. Like their subjective experience of time is extremely slow. So basically, like instead of experiencing like if you experience like a second less, like a few hours or something like that, and it because time is so dilated in your own mind, you're basically stuck with like the feeling that you were feeling at that moment. And if it's like dread, you'd feel dread for like hours, days, months, years inside your mind. Or if you're like happy, it would feel like you would keep that happiness and it would be like such a feeling that lasts so long that once it stops, you'd be craving more of it. So it makes you like dependent on it. Which is just like a really cool concept, like for a sci-fi type thing, and the way it's justified in the story for it to exist and everything. I think that's probably the weakest aspect of the story, but still, I think it's a neat idea for what they're doing in terms of what they could achieve with that weapon and how and why it exists in the context of that. So like I like Time Reavers. That's it. I recommend Time Reavers, the 10th Doctor story with Donna. So that's it. Um all right, Zod, what's your recommendation? If you recommend a book, the Doctor Who book as well, I say I'm kicking you off.
That's not possible.
Good, good.
The problem is I've really not like done much lately. The only like film I've watched this week was Quantumania, and I'm not going to recommend that, despite what Deb just said.
Timing of that was really good.
Yeah, honestly, I've just not really got much to recommend. I was like I'm also half tempted to say that The Last of Us is worth doing, but
Let's
because
talk about it when it's done.
yeah, that's what I mean. Just like it's worth waiting until the season's done for that one.
Mm-hmm.
But really,
The third profile picture.
Eh,
Do you have anything you can recommend, Zod? Come on, I believe in you.
I'll be honest, I do not have anything to recommend. I've just not done much.
Boo. Boo.
Ooh.
Boo. That's why. It doesn't have to be from this week. I mean, yeah, obviously it doesn't have to be from this week. What? No, don't need to lie. It just needs to be something I want to recommend. I didn't listen to Technophobia and Time Reavers this last week. It was 2 weeks ago. Anyway, all right. So if Zod doesn't have anything, let's all call him a cunt in chat, please, and we can move on to Wisecrack. We did it. We got here. Only took us 45 minutes. So Jeb's still not here. But anyway, Wisecrack. If you guys don't know, there's a bit of history that I have with that channel, where I covered one of their videos twice in my channel. Second time is because the first time was shit, so I wanted to redo it. And it's a very long video that I did, like, I think 90 minutes long, covering their 22-minute long video about Legion, and their video was really shit. The thing with Wisecrack is I think they're a really interesting channel, and they used to make really good videos about, like, philosophy and how that applies to media. But they kind of, like, the way they make videos now, it kind of just seems like they don't really care to be accurate or to actually like do research. They just need to get the video out, which is weird because they don't make that many videos. I think like they make one video a month or something. So yeah, I don't really know why their content fell off so hard, but yeah, it's sad. But yeah, like they have had some really good videos in the past. They made a video about Bo Burnham. And I think it was Make Happy, yeah, because I watched that video after I watched their Inside video, because their Inside video was shit. And I watched the Make Happy one, and I was like, fuck, this video is actually really good. Like, why is the Inside one so shit, you know? It's really interesting. And so, I got a few different Wisecrack videos for us to cover. Kind of wanted to cover this one with Jeb, and all of them with Jeb, because he likes philosophy. But anyway, Jeb isn't here, so we'll have to make do. So, the first video that I put for us to cover is Doctor Strange, How the Multiverse Changed Marvel, which I think is an apt topic to talk about, especially with Quantumania just having come out, and that film largely talking about the multiverse as well, like that being a big point of it. I mean, not for the plot itself, but like for what it's setting up. So we'll see what Wisecrack have to say about it. Yeah, that's it.
What's up, guys? Michael here in an undisclosed location to talk about the movie that dared to ask, what if you met another version of yourself and they were kind of a dick? Obviously, we're talking about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Despite a long history of trying and...
I mean, sure. I mean, there are other stories that Everything Everywhere All at Once did that. Rick and Morty has done that, but yeah, sure. God, Doctor Strange did change a lot. It did, but it also remained the same. It was fun.
failing to put the surgeon turned wizard on
No, the Doctor Strange movies are what I never got to see. Oh, okay.
the big screen. Doctor Strange has been a Marvel favorite since Benedict Cumberbatch brought him to life in 2016. Since, he's climbed the ranks of the Avengers and...
Well, he's not an Avenger. He didn't climb any ranks. He met the Avengers in the film that he died, and then he came back. Like, what?
What rank? What ranks do the Avengers have anyway?
I don't know. I guess Captain America and Tony are like at the top.
That's not much. That's not much climbing you need to do at that point.
Yeah, it's like there. I guess you have like the original 6 with Cap and Tony at the top, and then you have like the other ones that were added later on. I guess. I don't know. It's weird. I wouldn't call these characters Avengers. All of the characters in Endgame are Avengers if they participated in the Endgame battle. Yes, Howard the Duck, Ravager number 4, they're all Avengers. Fucking hell. Remember when it meant something to be called an Avenger, like when Tony said it to Peter in Infinity War? That was fun. Now we don't know who the Avengers are. I have no idea. They even make a joke of that when MODOK dies. It says, at least I died an Avenger. And Scott's like, yeah, for sure. Yeah. You're in, man. It's like, obviously, yeah, MODOK wasn't a fucking Avenger, but he just annoys me to make fun of it. Because, like, what the fuck does it mean to be an Avenger? Ant-Man is an Avenger, I guess, even though he never fought with the Avengers other than Endgame. But, like, every single Wakandan also fought with the Avengers. So I don't think they're all Avengers as well.
Like, the thing with, like, at least with, like, with the first few Avengers films, like, is that they at least implied that they had stuff going on in between their films, that they went on missions and stuff. Here, I don't even think they've even assembled once since Endgame.
No, they have. Well, I think this is gonna be the point of like the Avengers film, right? The two next Avengers films when they finally get together and fight things. But it's like, there's a reason why Age of Ultron and Avengers existed before Infinity War and Endgame. Because we see this team building like trust and actually being like characters together and fighting things together until we get to the big bad. It's why when you do a Fantastic Four film, you shouldn't just do like Doctor Doom at first or like Galactus like straight away. You need to build up to it because you need to see these characters, being together and fighting things, which is like why I really like the structure of like CW shows. I'm not saying CW shows do it well, but like that structure, like how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does it, where you see the characters actually fighting, sometimes villain of the week type things, to the point where when you actually build to the big bad, you've gotten so much character from them, and you see how you've seen how they work together and how they would be able to work together to fight the big bad and actually, figure out a way to save the world, which I think is way more interesting than just being like, oh, I guess the Avengers are together now, even though like they've not teamed up since what 2023, I guess, when Endgame final battle happened. So yeah. Wakanda's a nation is a singular Avenger. Yeah. You need childish names to become an Avenger. That's what the Wakandans were missing. That's fair.
Sorta saved the world. And the new film did not disappoint. It's packed with trippy visuals, exciting wizard fights, and genuinely moving emotional arcs.
If you say so.
I love how the instant reaction is just laughter. It's like, yeah, there's not. Yeah.
It's packed with trippy visuals.
Trippy visuals. It's like when you have like a 10-second scene where it's kind of cool visually, and then the rest of the film is just look at New York, but plants. Ooh. Super trippy. Some of the Wanda stuff was kind of interesting, I guess. Like when the camera zooms into her eye and it's like broken and shit. That was cool. Where she climbs out of that fucking gold gong or whatever the fuck it was. Like, inspired by like Japanese horror shit, which is just like, well, like this doesn't make any sense, but I guess it looks kind of interesting. Like it sometimes is kind of somewhat trippy, I guess.
Exciting wizard fights, and
he shows the fucking snakes that Doctor Strange used to try to stop Wanda. It's as opposed to actually any real like magic. Uses snakes. I love it.
Genuinely moving emotional arcs. But is something deeper going on when Strange and newcomer America Chavez traverse the multiverse? Can Wanda's completely bonkers plan to recreate her perfect...
Oh yeah, there's not mentioned it, but I like the moment where Wanda looks at the camera when she takes over like alternate Wanda's body. I think that was a cool detail. Like, ooh, like it actually got me a bit scared. I was like, ooh, that's cool. That's exciting. That's a thing. That's storytelling, some might say. But the rest of the film is allergic to storytelling. Anyway.
Wanda's completely bonkers plan to recreate her perfect family actually
I'm glad he knows it's bonkers, because yeah,
teach us something fundamental about the human experience. Let's explore in this Wisecrack quick take the philosophy of Doctor Strange. And spoilers ahead. The core of this multiversal madness revolves around the competing supernatural forces of Doctor Strange and Wanda, who has fully embraced her Scarlet Witch identity.
She hasn't, because she says she was like being reasonable and she's like hiding from everyone rather than just going after America herself. So clearly, she's just not embraced it, right? Like, fully. Like, that's just incorrect.
The two have opposite motivations. Wanda wants to steal America's multiverse traveling powers, thus killing her. Strange wants to save his new friend at all costs and stop Wanda's violent witchy rampage. See, Wanda is haunted by dreams of the children she created back in Westview.
And she doesn't create them again because, I don't know. She's even in a hex when we first see her in the film, right? It's so weird. I don't get it. She created like a new hex where when she turns it off, like everything is like all flumpy red and destroyed, but it's all nice and clean when it is on. So why doesn't she do that to create her children again? I don't get it.
Because dreams are actually the experiences of other yous in the multiverse, which means a multiverse version of me regularly pees his pants, she's tormented by the fact that every other Wanda seems to have a picture-perfect life as a mom. So she hatches a plan to steal America's powers to travel to a multiverse where she has kids. This also means she'd have to kill another version of herself, but she seems to have not totally thought that part through.
She did. She says that it won't matter. There's a very explicit line where they ask about that, and she says it doesn't matter. They'll never know. The children will never know. And what's it? Is that America who says? But you will. It's like, yeah, no shit, bitch. I thought of that. Like, what's the? Yeah, I killed another one. I've killed like hundreds of people by this point. Who the fuck cares? You know. Like, she destroyed the fucking Book of Ashanti. I really don't think she cares about being good anymore. Who didn't fight movie Bob or Nikocado Avocado? Oof, I think Nikocado Avocado, definitely.
What's more, having America's ability to go to every iteration of the universe means that if her kids get sick or say have trouble getting into a top tier college, she can travel around the multiverse and find novel medicines or a really great SAT tutor. And again,
or she could travel to a universe where those diseases can happen, I guess. Because it's infinite multiverses.
Yeah, it does seem like, yeah, just still cut out the middleman there.
Yeah, I don't think you need. You just do. It's so silly or whatever. It's like in an episode of one of Rick and Morty. There's a point where Morty falls and he breaks his leg, and Rick travels to a universe where they have so advanced technology and medicine that people don't age there. And so he steals like the serum that he injects Morty with that just fixes his broken legs, like instantly. And it's like, oh yeah, you could just, live in that universe with your kids. Why do you need to, why do you need to go travel to another universe where they get sick? Just live there. It's weird. I don't get it.
Again, kill a version of herself. She tries to persuade Strange to go along with her plan, but he refuses and rallies all of Kamar-Taj to protect America. Wanda, it seems, can outpower just about any living being, but
except when she doesn't want to, because the film kind of stops her from killing Wong and Doctor Strange and America a few hundred times. Wanting to travel through the multiverse to solve problems that she can solve herself, so she can change reality is really stupid. That's also a good point, right? She can alter reality. She's a fucking witch. The most powerful witch in the multiverse, actually, so yeah. Fuck. Okay, I hadn't thought of that. That's true.
she can't magic her way into motherhood. And then there's Doctor Strange.
She can. She did. In WandaVision. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what WandaVision was.
You did. Okay.
Who, after arguably saving the world, still has to say...
Arguably?
What?
Did he not
What?
save
What's
the
that?
universe? What's there to argue about? He did save the universe. I don't... Sure.
By and watch the love of his life, Christine, marry some other guy. She even reminds him that you always have to be the one holding the knife. That is to say, he is a total control freak. The film opens with an alternate...
Yeah, which the first film kind of explained in much subtler ways, but this film kind of bashes you over the head with what he wants you to think. It's annoying.
Strange in America running from a demon. Having lost their lead, Strange steals America's powers, which he knows will kill her, rather than yielding them to a monstrous force.
Yeah, the monster who's also killing him, so he would just suck the powers out of Strange himself, rather than America. It's like, it's pointless. Why didn't you just kill America? Whatever. This film is so stupid.
He's down to take control of the situation, even if it means doing a murder. Though, luckily, the demon murks him before he murks America.
That's only lucky because if he did actually suck America's power, like, he loses. So, I guess Doctor Strange, like, Strange Supreme got lucky that he was stupid, but he was killed before he was too stupid.
And throughout the film, Strange tries to control everything. He desperately tries to stop Wanda's antics, acts as America's caretaker, acquires the Book of Ashanti, and so on.
What? That's not really wanting to take care of everything, right? Like, it's just like, I have the power to do this. I kind of have to, right? It's like, I don't know. That's really weird of, like, wanting to control everything. You would kind of be like, if he wants to control everything, is if he used the Book of Ashanti to stop one, then he kept the book to himself, right? Because it would mean, like, he wants to be the one who has the book, so no one else can have it, so he can, like, actually control everything and know that everything's fine under his control. Which kind of be like a totalitarian kind of thing. Could be kind of interesting to explore that. Probably more with Wanda as a character, though, considering... What's the name of the storyline with Wanda when she becomes evil in the comics? House of something?
House of M, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Wanda, he even tries out the dangerous new sport of dreamwalking to control, of all things, his very own decaying corpse.
Yeah, which the repercussions of that, it's so insane. He's a control freak, except when he leaves the stone to Thanos, dies and believes that Tony and the rest of the Avengers will bring everything back to how it was. Yeah, there's many moments where he relinquishes control, which is like in I think even when he fights Dormammu would be also a way to say that he does do that, like when he repeats the loops, right? Because he's like relinquishing control, that he won't be able to control anything down there, but at least they'll be safe, I guess. Confusing.
We've got zombies in the MCU, folks. But after a magic-induced massacre, Strange is faced with the frightening reality that he might not be able to control Wanda's fury, or save America. So here we have an interesting mirroring effect, where our protagonist and antagonist actually have the exact same problem. And in case you missed it, it's neatly summed up in the trailer by Sorcerer Supreme Wong.
You cannot control everything, Strange.
Oh yeah, that was very hard to miss. You just, okay, fucking up.
Yeah, that sums up everything perfectly. So he perfectly sums up the themes.
No, it's just so funny because he just mentioned the line from what's her face, Christine, saying that you always need to be the one holding the knife, and then he's like, oh, if you missed it, here's another line that says the exact same thing, but it's even less subtle somehow. Fucking hell. Yeah, I didn't miss it. Don't worry about it.
In contrast, we have America, who maintains that she cannot control her power to travel the multiverse. It
Yeah,
only
it's
manifests
stupid.
when she's scared. Unlike
Unless she's like, because apparently she's not scared in this scene, even though she's almost caught by the squid monster that's about to kill her. Fucking hell, her powers are super inconsistent.
Strange and Wanda, she's keenly aware that many things are out of her control. So how can we make sense of Strange and Wanda's shit?
Yeah, Strange did too. That was why he relinquished control in Infinity War to win. He won by relinquishing control. That's exactly proving the point that it is out of his control.
Their desire for control. Well, with the help of our favorite Danish walking enthusiast, Soren Kierkegaard. And guys, I get it. I talk about him all the time, but I went into an unpayable amount of grad school debt to learn about him, so I gotta milk this for all it's worth. Now, in Kierkegaard's book Repetition,
You know
he
what?
tells
I understand. I respect that feeling.
a comedic tale of a young man who was trying to recreate or repeat a nice trip he took to Berlin. Because it made him so happy at the time, he goes back and stays at the same place, visits the same theater, hangs at the same coffee shop. Still, the initial magic is gone. And none of these experiences are as meaningful as they were the first time. And this isn't too dissimilar from Wanda's desire to recreate or repeat the experience she had as a mother. Though
I mean, I guess, but we don't see her repeating it at all, though. This doesn't really make sense, does it? Like, if we'd seen her try to do it with, like, her hex, and she kind of feels like it isn't the same thing, and she's trying to, like, look for something that's more real, that would make more sense, I think, than just her, like, being, you know what, I want to steal some other one of these kids. Why not? She does it in dreams. No, she doesn't do it in dreams. She has dreams. She sees other Wandas being happy. What the fuck are you talking about now? Anyway, yeah, this is silly.
in fairness, Kierkegaard's character wasn't trying to kill a hip teen with superpowers. One of the ways that Wanda attempts to do this is to use dreamwalking to literally occupy the body
What
of
the fuck are they doing with these, like, effects on screen? It's so weird. They've done it with a few shots from the film where it looks all, like, wobbly. Is it just to get around copyright? That's really strange.
another Wanda in the multiverse, one who is calmly enjoying her suburban life with her two boys. But during this experience, our Wanda seems oddly out of sync and unable to connect with this other version of herself, and for that matter, with the children she seemingly
No,
loves.
wasn't that because Wong destroyed the book? Isn't that why she becomes out of
Yeah,
sync?
he showed the visual where like
Yeah.
it flashes between the two, but that's after the book's been destroyed.
Yeah,
so-
it's not because she oddly can't control that Wanda. It's because she can't control a Wanda without the Darkhold. She lost the book. That's not why it's happening. That's not like a philosophical thing where like her mind is out of sync with something else. No, it's the book. It's the magical book that gives her these powers. It's not like it's fucking God damn it. I hate how Wisecrack tries to be like, oh, see how deep it is. It's exploring the philosophy of the mind. No, it's just silly. It's like magic, like fantasy rules. God damn it.
Loves so much. Kierkegaard describes something similar in Repetition. Eventually, after doing everything possible to repeat his beloved trip, the young man in Berlin realizes that there really isn't such a thing as literal repetition. And
Unfortunately, she didn't try to do it. She never achieved, actually, like, getting her kids at any point in the film. After she lost them in WandaVision, she didn't try to recreate them with the hex. She didn't go to any other universe. The only time she sees her kids, when she's controlling that Wanda, and then later in the film when she goes to that other Wanda's universe and she sees like, oh my god, the children are scared of me. How could I, wow, I hadn't thought of this. I didn't know that I would be that I would scare my own children if I killed their mom in front of them. But anyway, yeah, it's silly.
And in attempting to repeat the experience, a contradiction arises. The conflict between his ideal for how the trip would feel and what it actually feels like in reality. The attempt at repetition.
Like, I like this idea, but it's not what Multiverse of Madness does. It's the kind of same problem that I had with their Legion video, where they're like trying to apply something just because they think it kind of is like an interesting idea that is somewhat connected with the story of the film they're talking about or show, whatever. But it's just, it's not it. That's not what's in the film. You can't analyze this thing through a lens that isn't what happens in the film. It's just applying like some random like headcanon or something. When we all make videos on the Flash Season 9 with Advocate. First one's coming out tomorrow. It would have come out yesterday, but I hadn't finished that editing yet because I was making my own video. But the first one's coming out tomorrow, and then weekly after that, hopefully. So yeah, if you're curious, that's what's happening.
Left him with this feeling of contradiction and or impossibility. And we see this when Scarlet Witch Wanda literally comes face to face with suburban mom Wanda and her kids. Everything she's done has been motivated by wanting to once again experience the love she had for her boys. But when she finally sees them again, they are absolutely terrified of her. In this moment, she experiences a shattering disconnect between the ideal of once again being a mother and the reality of these kids thinking she's super scary. And that's the comic, and in this case, tragic irony of repetition for Kierkegaard. In trying to repeat experiences, we ultimately confront the absolute impossibility of repetition.
It's not really impossible though. If she had killed that Wanda and then like replaced her, like it would have worked, right? Like she would have been loved by her children and she would have loved them. Right? Like I don't get it.
Yeah.
How would this not have worked? It's not impossible for her to do it. And these children would even be real. She wouldn't even need to use magic to actually keep them alive. I think what would make more sense if he talked about the rules for incursions, because at some point the universe she's in would be destroyed because she wouldn't be able to be in another universe. Which is actually like, oh, the irony is that if she did get like everything she wanted, it would be taken away from her and like she would die for it. So, I think that makes way more sense with the analysis it's making. I don't know. I don't know. Just a thought.
Differently. Trying to control our future, we realize that total control is impossible. Kierkegaard wrote in his journals that life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forward. Meaning that
Jesus Christ, I hate the pseudo-intellectualism. Fucking hell. Okay.
We should learn from our past experiences instead of trying to uncritically repeat them. Ultimately, Wanda
should have learned that when she created her children with magic, she should have not tried to kill another Wanda to get her children, because that's repeating something, I guess. That makes sense.
Stops trying to control the world around her and instead destroys the Darkhold so that nobody might ever be tempted by its evils again. Our guy Doctor Strange has a similar realization in the film, though he's not trying to recreate anything per se. He still wants things to go his way. This has been his move.
Yeah, he wants to not be killed by the Illuminati. That's being a control freak. So true. Me when I don't want to be executed. This guy be like, why are you trying to control everything? Just, let life take you wherever he wants to take you. Jeez.
Throughout his appearances in the MCU, he's kind of a cocky prick, and he's not the only one.
Yeah.
Throughout the film, he encounters other Stranges from across the multiverse whose same hubristic desire for control led to their downfall.
Which is like very interesting that every every Strange is the same. The Wongs are different. We know that because Wong is different in every appearance because they come from the Wong pit. But every Strange is like the same, other than like one of them being evil because Darkhold, I guess. But like even their experiences with their sister and everything is the same. And it's like, you do know how infinite multiverse works, right? What that means, what that entails. But guess not.
eventually sets 616 Strange apart is that he's able to sacrifice this desire for control, namely over whether his lived experience matches up with his ideal vision for things. It might also help that 616 Strange and 838 Christine got flirty as hell. He's eventually
What? She even says that she can't be with him. What are you talking about? What? What? I don't know.
able to cede control to America when he realizes he can't defeat Wanda. And for once, he needs to give the proverbial knife to someone else. Meanwhile, America has the opposite experience. Initially, she feels like she has no control over her powers, her reality,
and then she does because Strange tells her, no, you do, don't worry about it. It's for real, trust me. No cap. Just, yeah. When they shoot. One problem I have with Multiverse of Madness is that why doesn't Strange and the others find an alternate universe where Wanda, who's dead but has kids, in the live version of both Quicksilver and Vision? Because they know incursions happen. They can't bring Wanda to another universe, because that would cause an incursion and destroy it. So that's why. The only way to defend it. But the issue is that America being in 616 would cause an incursion. The same way that Gamora being 616 would cause an incursion. So it's kind of like, well, it doesn't matter anyway, right? You're not trying to stop that. You're not trying to, like, fix this one universe you already live in and the things that would cause incursions here. It's silly.
No, that comment's interesting to think about, because, like, you know, like before they learn about incursions and all that, like, you know, once he, you know, when he first learns about what Wanda's up to, you know, sort of wonder why that wouldn't be his first instinct. Would be to, like, well, you know, why not? Why do you have to kill her? Why not just go to sort of
go to a universe where everything is perfect for you?
Universe. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like, why do you have to kill and steal her powers? Like, oh, then she says later to Wong, yeah, she doesn't even say to Strange, but it's like, in case they get sick, and they're like, okay, you can change reality with your mind. Can you not fix their illnesses? What do you think they're gonna have? They're gonna have, like, an incurable cancer that magic can cure, I guess. Incursions are extremely inconsistent, my guy. The first Strange is a control freak, but the one from Professor X's universe literally stops using the Darkhold and allows his friend to kill him because he was too dangerous. Yeah, it's so funny. He literally saves the universe, and they're like, look, I might be too dangerous, just kill me. Because apparently that's being a control freak, according to fucking Captain Marvel. What's her name? Rambeau? Monica Rambeau? I think that's it.
Even whether she'll ever see her
Rambeau.
moms again. By the end, she realizes that even if she can't control what's happening around her, she can learn to control herself and her powers. This is pretty meaningful. Existentialists believe that while we have no control over the conditions in which we exist, we do have responsibility for ourselves and our own actions, for better or worse. This is why for Jean-Paul Sartre, responsibility is a direct effect of our existential freedom.
But responsibility doesn't have anything to do with the point you're making. Because what does responsibility have to do with her learning how to control her powers out of nowhere? I'm confused. Because it's not that she learns that she can control her powers because she's responsible or something. I don't understand the point.
Sorry, responsibility is a direct effect of our existential freedom. This tension between control and lack thereof, between wanting to live in the ideal world and accepting that we live in the real, messy, complex world, is nothing new. It's been essential to Western philosophy ever since some Greeks and ancient Birkenstocks invented it. Descartes thought that math, with a side of God, made existence into a nice, rational structure where everything makes sense and you know you exist because you're thinking about existing. This made reality something that was understandable with a level of mathematical certainty. David Hume, on the other...
He's spiraling down a lot of different philosophers, and it's like, I don't get the main point he's making. He's just saying philosophy shit. It's interesting ideas that these philosophers think, but I don't understand how this relates to America controlling her powers. Hey Sky, Multiverse of Madness or Quantumania? I think Quantumania is probably not as horrible, but I think I would rather watch Multiverse of Madness just because it looks better and has a better soundtrack. It has like one track that I like, so that's already better than Ant-Man, Quantumania. So yeah.
the other hand, thought that this was dumb, and all of our knowledge is based on lived experience. What we see is more important than what we think. Kant sort of mixed these two together to argue that reality does have a formal structure, and while we can't see the causes for everything, we can know some limited stuff about how the world works. For example, we can know some of the fundamental principles of things like morality and truth without seeing inside the mind of God. But
Yeah, because God isn't the person who like dictates morality and truth. Also, what the fuck was he talking about? What's the point of this? How have you come to talk about like the morality of God? What are you talking about America's powers?
What does this have to do with magic wizards?
Yeah, I'm so confused. Chill out, dude. You're spiraling down.
Debt Lord Kierkegaard, on the other hand, was interested in how all these attempts at knowledge affect us at the individual level in our actual existence. And as he saw it, this fundamental tension between the ideal world and the real world, or ideality and actuality, can lead to despair. Like the young man in Berlin or the Scarlet Witch who wants to be a mom, we all have experienced a contradiction between how we want our world to be and how our world actually is. And as Strange, Wanda, and America learn, Kierkegaard thinks the way out of this despair is making decisions. And these
That's such a simple answer. I'm sorry. It's like, wow. After all this, after you went like on a 2-minute tangent about like 16 different philosophers, that's what you have to say? No way. Making decisions can make your life feel like you have more control over it. Well done. Well done, Wisecrack, man. God damn it. So silly. What does he mean by fundamental principles of morality? Jesus Christ, he went so far already. Someone bring him back, please. Yeah, he's just saying shit. I think it's just like he said, like he this is such a good now, but it is now. But I think he said like, oh, I wasted a bunch of money studying Kierkegaard. So I think it's just all the philosophers he studied in like grad school or whatever he said it was, that he wants to, you know, show people that he knows, because otherwise he wasted money on nothing. This whole rant about morality or about characters have motives, I don't know what the point of that was. I think he just spiraled, and like 90% of what he said about the philosophers there was pointless.
These decisions always involve an element of risk or faith, because there is no way of being certain that your idea is going to be actualized. Doctor Strange must decide to give control to America and not insist on holding the knife, or the spooky book of evil spells. Wanda needs to decide that her plan is evil, and that to start righting her wrong.
Decide that her plan is evil? That's an interesting way to phrase that. Does she need to realize her plan is evil and then make a decision from that? Like, the decision would be a consequence of that, not, like, itself. That's not... I'm confused. Okay.
She needs to destroy the Darkhold, and seemingly herself. Meanwhile, America decides that she's capable of controlling her power. And
she decides she's capable of controlling her power? Is that how it is? You just decide what you can do
What's
now?
going on?
Fuck her. Do you think she would have decided this earlier in her life, when she was trying to find her fucking moms? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, fuck off, man. Oh, god damn it. This one like 30-second bit of me just saying fuck over and over is gonna get us demonetized. But like, Jesus Christ, I'm so bad at this. So pointless. God damn it. That spiral about morality is what should be cut on a reread of the script during the editing process. I agree, but the video is like 11 minutes long, so if you cut it, it'll probably be too short. You need to pad the runtime.
this decision is accompanied by the faith that she'll be able to do so. It should also be no surprise that Kierkegaard famously emphasized the importance of the leap of faith. The paradox of all of this is that there is power in giving up control, and that the most heroic acts in the film are precisely those decisions to cede power for the sake of doing what's right. We can't force our lives to look like the past, but we can decide to live differently in the future. The drive for repetition and
Wait, that doesn't really make sense, does it? Because America is not giving up control. Doctor Strange is, but he said like the biggest things in this film are like when they give up control, but he's giving up control to America, who is, you know, grabbing that control and taking control of the situation herself. She doesn't even do what Strange tells her to. He says like, kick that witch's ass. Then she's like, no, actually, I'm gonna open a portal to the thingy, so she can show her the thingy. So I don't know what he's saying.
I'm just on the fact that like he's gonna have how like Strange giving up what's like important for doing what's right and shit. There's like this deep philosophical thing, and I'm just. Isn't that like one of the most basic sort of character arcs that a character can have?
It's giving up
Like-
control.
Like this isn't as special as you think it is.
hmm I mean, yeah, Evelyn is kind of that in Everything Everywhere All at Once, giving up control at the end. It's part of her arc, not entirely that, because that film is good. It has a lot of layers, but that's one of it, one part of it. Coulson has a lot of that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. of having to give up control, wanting to control everything. Him and Fitz especially. Anyway, let's ignore the good writing and let's get back to Multiverse of Madness.
Control can be a prison, and the way out is deciding to give up control and have faith that the future can still work out, even if you can't be certain about it. But what do you guys think? Can Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness teach us a thing or two about accepting that we're not in control of everything? Or should we all search for a secret book of evil magic so we can make our crush like us? Let us know what you think in
Okay, that's a joke, but that's not a type of joke I like. It feels kind of rapey. I don't know, man. I wouldn't do that personally. I would not try to force someone to like me, not gonna lie. It's like in the fucking, what's it, Harry Potter, right? That has a like lust potion or whatever it is that you can give that someone will want to fuck you, and I'm like, why is this a thing? Why do you allow this thing to exist, and why do you actually give it to the women students? Sorry, let's not talk about J.K. Rowling being stupid. It's just weird.
comments. Big thanks to our patrons for all
Okay,
your support.
Patreon. Okay, so we're done with this one. Okay, so that was a video because he needed to talk about a topical film. Sure, let's let this beaver eating cabbage play while I talk about the video. So this video was really bad, man. Like really bad. I don't understand. He didn't really say anything, did he? That was so pointless. God damn. Like he didn't really like none of the points he made actually like had anything to do with the philosophers he brought up and the lines of thinking from Kierkegaard, because a lot of the things he said are contradicted by the film because it's just not what happens in the film. This is so weird, man.
How the multiverse changed Marvel.
Oh yeah, he didn't even say that, right? Well, I guess the multiverse represents the change that means that you can give up control and be happier. Like the multiverse is representative of that, which I guess is like, I guess that makes sense, but he didn't mention that. He should have said it.
Yeah, right.
When I saw the title, I
Yeah,
thought it was good.
it's very
like,
good if fucking.
You go first.
there you
Zach.
go.
I just said it'd have been good if you fucking said it, but yeah.
Oh yeah. 10, your turn.
Alright, when I saw the title, I thought I was gonna like address how Marvel's storytelling has changed thanks to doing the multiverse stuff and the problems we talked about in the DC tangent, but no, it's all about how it's philosophically tied to character arcs and stuff, and
Well, it's
and
like
12
it's fine that it's like philosophy and shit. I think that's fine because it's their channel. They talk about philosophy and how it applies in media. My issue is how what they're saying doesn't apply to what they're first the name of the video, and secondly like what actually happened in the film. So that's what like really annoys me. It's not really like that it is about philosophy. It's the lack of applying philosophy like properly. That's what annoys me.
Yeah.
Got through that video faster than EFAP. You truly are the ECUM after the EFAP. Yeah, well, that's the thing. They don't say much in Wisecrack videos, so that's why I chose like 5 of them just to like give us time to cover it for like a normal length of time. And so yeah, I think we're ready to move on to the next one. Ooh, you know what's interesting actually, because we were just talking about Doctor Strange and it's a multiverse film and everything that comes with that, and how what's the name? Everything Everywhere at Once does most of the things that Multiverse of Madness is trying to do, but well. So let's watch their video on Everything Everywhere All at Once. Woo. Hold on. Wait. Let me set it up properly. Alrighty. I'm sorry if people were here to watch cat eating sausage or whatever. That's unfortunately not all we're gonna do today. It's only part of it. Forgot to add sound back on. Alrighty.
This video is brought to you by Surfshark VPN. What's up, guys? Michael here. Today, we're going to talk about what will likely be the most important film this year to feature sentient rocks. And no, we don't mean Dwayne. We're talking about Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, or as we like to call it, Michelle Yeoh and the Multiverse of Sadness. This isn't the first movie to use the
It's kind of a weird title, considering the point at the end is so hopeful. Calling it Multiverse of Sadness is a bit... Haven't you already done this video? We have not, Neb, no. We've never covered a Wisecrack video or an Everything Everywhere All at Once video.
Multiverse as a storytelling device. But while some of these other films might be accused of, I don't know, using the multiverse as a way to backdoor corporate IP into increasingly flimsy narratives,
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Rare Wisecrack dub.
Everything Everywhere All at Once is different. It uses the multiverse to say some genuinely interesting things about everything from 24/7 digital culture to how sometimes parents just don't understand. One of the film's directors even said it explores his own adult ADHD diagnosis and its effects on his life.
Yeah, I could I could tell. Very relatable. Anyway.
But what really stood out to us is the way the film explores two of our favorite philosophical sensibilities, existentialism and nihilism. And while we've talked about these two spicy meatballs, or hot dog fingers before, Everything Everywhere All at Once does something super interesting in using the multiverse to explore the metaphysical implications of the aforementioned meatballs. So does this film...
Jesus, can you not talk like a normal person? The aforementioned meatballs, what's the point? Fuck, okay, sorry. I just don't understand what the thesis was there, because he's talking like, oh, I want to sound smart. Just say what your actual point is. You don't need to make yourself sound smart. To be fair, this channel is all about sounding smart, so whatever.
Use the multiverse to show us a way out of existential despair? Or should we all be praying for nihilist bagels to put us out of our misery?
That's very much not the point of the film. It's very much the opposite of the point of the film, actually.
Let's find out in this Wisecrack edition on Everything Everywhere All at Once. Does anything mean anything anywhere? And of course, major spoilers ahead for the movie. But before we dive in, I want to tell you about this week's sponsor, Surfshark.
Alrighty, let's skip this. I'm not giving them free promo.
How much they think I can afford. Instead, I can connect my matter if the movie like your lab code Wisecrack.
That's a long
in the description.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that was a very long ad read. Okay.
Surfshark VPN today. And now, back to the show.
No.
Let's start with the film's central characters, the Wang family. You've got serious and stressed Evelyn, her goofy but good-hearted husband, Waymond, and their angsty daughter, Joy. Each of these characters is going through their own type of existential crisis right off the bat, and that's before the fabric of reality starts to unravel. Evelyn embodies a type of mundane existential despair as she's seemingly depressed at the state of her life and keenly aware of what she hasn't accomplished. She very much has the vibes of a character from a Sartre or Camus novel. We even learn that she's the only Evelyn in the multiverse who never excelled at anything.
With every passing moment, you feel
He's
you
correct
have
so
missed
far.
your chance to make something
I'm gonna pause just for copyright. But yeah, he's correct so far. He's successfully recapped the first act of the film.
of your life.
And during an IRS meeting, we see that she hasn't let go of various failed dreams.
You're also a novelist and a chef.
Last time you told me
No,
that.
please.
And then we have Joy. When we first meet her, she's feeling alienated from her mother, both interpersonally and also at the level of wanting her queerness to be recognized.
他是我的
Pause for copyright again. It's so interesting how this film tackles something like that as well. The wanting to validate her own identity, because with her family being like so against that, and like using her grandpa as like an excuse the way Evelyn does. It's interesting. I like that as a thing to explore in a film, especially with a film as fact as this one, like making time for something like as small as that, but that's still interesting. I also really like the line where Jobu Tupaki is like attacking Evelyn, like, oh, that's why my Joy is always so sad. That's why she thinks she likes girls. And Jobu Tupaki is like, you still hung up with the fact that I like girls in this world. It's funny. I like that.
The
but later on we'll know her as Jobu Tupaki once her mind is shattered and exists in every iteration of the multiverse.
No, her mind has already been shattered. Jobu Tupaki just came to this universe. So, yeah.
While the original Joy is just looking for meaning in her everyday life, Jobu Tupaki is on a search for meaning at the cosmic level. Existing in every multiverse has left her convinced everything is random, nothing means anything, and there is no truth. And finally, we have Waymond, who at first doesn't appear to suffer as deeply as his wife and daughter, but he does seem dejected by the loss of love in his marriage. Rather than seeking some type of cosmic meaning or purpose, this dude just wants to love and be loved. So to really get to the bottom of what these characters are going through, we need to revisit our old friends, existentialism and nihilism.
No, okay.
Now, we've covered these topics in the past, and if you need a primer, check out our classic video on Rick and Morty and BoJack, written by yours truly. But something we haven't talked about before is what
Jesus Christ, he talks so slowly. We're like 5 minutes in the video. I'm so sorry they were talking so little about this video, but he's like, we're 5 minutes in, and all he's done is like recap, you know, the characters and everything. Like, at this point, you could have made a point already.
Early existentialists were responding to, namely rationalist and idealist schools of thought that believed the structure of reality was something that was knowable through human consciousness, i.e., that we could make sense of everything, which is what philosophers call metaphysics. The two most notable proto-existentialists, Nietzsche and Kierkegaard, came right after the era of German idealism, during which a crew of philosophers tried to figure out the nature of the absolute. Put differently, they were trying to logically comprehend everything, everywhere, all at once. Corny, sure, but an apt description of what philosophers like Hegel and Fichte were doing? Absolutely.
Jesus Christ! Say something, make a point! Jesus Christ, I'm losing my mind here. Say something!
I'm so bored.
I really wish that Watch Together had a speed up function.
It does, but it doesn't work properly. Otherwise, I would do it.
Like, God, I'm just
say something.
That sounds so boring.
Just make a point. You're so close to it, Wisecrack.
Idealist philosophers offered an account of both how human consciousness works, but also how the reality outside of our consciousness functions. In their minds, they had more or less reached the final boss of philosophy. But for some of the folks that came in,
Oh my god!
the idea that individual human minds could somehow comprehend all the features of reality was a humorous illusion at best. They weren't ready to go full Tupaki. And even those who thought these absolute idealists were onto something still thought that this level of rational understanding wasn't making folks any less miserable. We see parallels in the film's antagonist, Jobu Tupaki. Jobu is able to experience everything that's happening at all times, but instead of giving her some greater sense of truth or meaning, it's made her absolutely miserable, turning her into a nihilist with a penchant for experimental fashion and creative murders.
The editing in this film is so good, Jesus Christ.
This makes us think about a fellow traveler of the existentialists, Albert Camus.
How many philosophers can you bring up before you make a point? You still haven't made a point! What is happening? Have I lost my mind?
This feels like the bit in the scene in Day of a Doctor where like all the doctors show up and say it's like all 12 of them, it's just philosophers.
Well, it's this is like a textbook Gadel, where Waller's just like saying something, you think he's gonna start a point, and he just continues talking about like the preamble, and then he never finishes the video with actually having made a point. This is exactly how that feels. Wisecrack is just Gadel, but you know, played straight. Fucking Christ, I want to lose my mind.
What his friends Jean-Paul, Simone, and Maurice described as the existential condition, he called the absurd. The absurd describes what happens when there is a contradiction between two ideals. For example, humanity's desire for meaning.
Tin gave up on covering this video, I guess. Oh no. Don't worry, she's gonna be back, I hope. She is back. Hello.
Well, hello.
Did Tin even realize she died?
Yeah, I couldn't hear you for a bit, then Discord reset.
Alright. So you did notice your death. That's good.
Purpose and the universe's seemingly cold and meaningless structure. Not to get too trippy, but it's basically what happens if you're sitting underneath the stars with someone you love. That feeling of love seems super meaningful when you're gazing at your beloved. But when you turn and stare up at the seemingly lifeless infinity of
What? What? Wait, what? Are you telling me that when people like go to like a picnic and they look like up at the stars, they're like, man, our love doesn't matter anymore? I think that's the opposite. I think it's like a romantic setting that makes people feel more intimate with the other. Right?
It's literally a fucking scene in Spider-Man 3 where like the stargazing. That's a common date idea. Just going stargazing.
Yeah. So Wisecrack guy is working through some shit. It seems like it, yeah. Jesus.
Does he blame his breakup on
On the stars, on the how large the universe. That's a very Jeb thing to do, you know. Just be like, I broke up with my girlfriend because she didn't realize the meaninglessness of existence. Very Jeb thing to have done in his life. It's probably the need of a beer. He's gone but not forgotten.
Of our universe, it's hard to not wonder if human meaning is just a pleasant delusion we all
Jesus Christ, he really is working through some shit. God
This guy
damn.
needs a therapist.
Yeah. I'm sorry you went through some stuff, Mr. Michael Wisecrack. I imagine Wisecrack is your last name. You deserve love, man.
Or if you're Jobu Tapaki, the absurd is the contradiction between thinking that your individual life has some sort of meaning and then experiencing the seeming randomness and meaninglessness of life across the multiverse. For Evelyn, it could be the contradiction between her mundane and unfulfilling life and seeing that in another timeline, she's a movie star. Now, this contradiction drives Jobu to bagel-centered nihilism, which we'll get back to in a second.
Oh my god. You're so close to making a point. You're very close. You're on the edge of making an argument. You think you can do it? I'm going insane. We're 8 minutes into this video, guys. We still have 10 minutes left. He hasn't said anything. Holy fuck.
But that wasn't Camus' journey. He thought that the individual...
Rebecca Camus, no!
I don't care about Camus.
Suicide. And to be clear, he did not endorse this, and there is no reading of the existentialist tradition that endorses ending your own life. A leap of faith in which you turn to religion for meaning, or a type of recognition or rebellion in which you acknowledge the utter absurdity of existence, but are still able to discover meaning at the individual level. It's sort of embracing the...
Right, so that third one is what happens in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Did you need 8 minutes to still not make that point? Because it's pretty easy to understand. That third one is exactly what happens in Everything Everywhere All at Once. You could have said all this in 1 minute and then actually explored how the film talks about this throughout it to make that point at the end. Instead of wasting 8 goddamn minutes. Okay.
Paradox that while the universe might have no inherent meaning, you're going to keep searching for some meaning nonetheless. It's kind of like searching for your soulmate at a funeral. In this way, Camus' absurdism is neither as cosmically hopeless as nihilism, nor as positive in its embrace of freedom and humanity as existentialism. At a certain point in the movie, it seems like Jobu and Evelyn have chosen Camus' very dark first option, as Jobu's despair makes her want to simply be sucked into the empty void of the bagel. Rather than face the absurdity of their situation, they'd prefer not to exist at all. Because, as we see during Evelyn's laundromat rampage, what's the point? For some contemporary theorists, Camus' solution is kind of a cop-out. He comes close...
We'll get there. First is the last time I'll go off topic. Thoughts on the Resident Evil 4 remake. You know what? I'm glad you're going off topic, because I'm so tired of this fucking man. The clips I've seen look pretty good. The rain really annoys me. It looks like the GTA Definitive Edition rain. Like, it really is very, it looks like... how's it that Harley describes it in the Suicide Squad?
It's like angels are spooking all over us.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it looks like. It's very, very just like white, you know, like dots and lines falling in through the sky. It's very distracting. I don't like it. But other than that, it genuinely looks good. So I'm interested in it. Though I have not played the Resident Evil games a lot, so we'll see. Yeah.
I just want to parry a chainsaw with a knife.
Wait, what'd you say?
That's what I want. I just want to parry a chainsaw with a knife.
Sure. Sounds doable.
Close to embracing absolute cosmic meaninglessness, but he doesn't go all the way. One such theorist is writer Eugene Thacker, who in his aptly titled In the Dust of This Planet argues that there might not be a purpose to things, or to your life, or to your existence, or to the cosmos, that there might not be an order, that we're not here for a reason, that it's arbitrary and an accident. For Thacker, this cosmic nihilism leads to a
So did he just describe nihilism like 3 times by like 3 different fucking like 16 different philosophers? I'm so tired. Oh, fucking hell. Neb is becoming like a being that's being taken away by a spaceship, so that's more entertaining than this video, I would say.
Of pessimism, which takes a largely negative view of life and existence. Pessimists believe that the conditions of existence often make life pretty shitty for most people most of the time.
That
this seems to be
visual sure was something. I don't... Okay.
The vibe of Jobu's crew of circle-headed weirdos. Because life is shit anyways, they embrace being sucked into the hole of a heavily seasoned bagel. Philosopher Ray Brassier takes this pessimistic view even further.
I'm gonna watch this stream back. I want to see how many philosophers he cites throughout all the videos we watch. Because fucking hell.
In his understanding of our desire for meaning. As he sees it, because we can be scientifically certain that eventually the sun is going to die out and explode, there will be an inevitable heat death to the universe, and Earth will be cosmically canceled.
You just described nihilism again. There's like 4 definitions of nihilism in this video. Oh my god.
In this process, all human consciousness and history...
We know! Oh my god!
Thought and art...
That won't happen for another good few billion years. Like...
It's just... Yeah, I know. I know this is part of the nihilism of knowing that nothing matters, but like... You've explained that hundreds of times. I get it. I get it. Don't worry. I assure you I get it. Michael.
Ever and rendered cosmically meaningless. And in light of this cosmic bummer, we need to reconsider our desire for meaning.
A good visual for that would have been the Big Bang when the planets were blooping out of existence and shit. Rather than like a terrible 3D animation with some explosion effects on it. But you know, what do I know?
And maybe reconsider the idea that real meaning is something that we can ever find in the first place. Basically, if the bagel is eventually going to suck it all into oblivion anyways, none of what's happening now really matters all that much, does it? Classic existentialism, absurdism, and nihilism are all about what we should do practically and ethically if life is meaningless. But there are contemporary philosophers...
Oh my god, not more philosophers! No! 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 No!
Who have functionally turned existentialism back into a kind of metaphysics. Remember, the very thing existentialism developed in opposition to. Basically, if existentialism was more about how we should live, metaphysics consists of classic questions about the meaning of reality. Now, the metaphysical implications of thinkers like Thacker and Brassier would, of course, be ideal reading for Jobu and the Bagel Gang's book. They basically confirm Jobu's nihilistic metaphysics by arguing that the cosmos is a cold, uncaring nothing, and that life is mostly pain and despair with a few little moments of happiness sprinkled here and there.
This video is more entertaining if you imagine that he's drunk and making it up on the fly. It's because sometimes he slurs his words. That's actually hilarious. You like, I did actually write a video on it. Let me just mention another philosopher because I forgot the point I was making.
And like we already said, at a certain point, it seems like Evelyn wants in on the book group as well. But she snaps out of it due to Wayman's simple but effective plea for everyone to just be kind.
Minutes said the exact same things for minutes. Minutes, I tell you. It's been 11 minutes and 39 seconds. It's the first time he's moved away from explaining nihilism.
The only thing I do know is that we have to be kind.
And while this could strike some as corny and reductive, as if being kind is a cure to large-scale metaphysical meaninglessness...
I mean, it kind of is, in this sense, that you figure out that because things are so big and, like, beyond your control, so meaningless, that you can take, like, solace in what you can control and what relates to you, because if nothing matters in the grand scheme of things, they only matter to you on a personal level, which is why, like, just be kind is like such a small but effective thing to say in that moment. It just makes sense. So I don't think it's reductive. I think it's very good way to summarize like the point here. I know.
that actually gets at something important. Now, for Thacker and Brassier, pessimism and nihilism aren't just existential principles.
I'm actually gonna say how many fucking philosophers? Oh my god.
But metaphysical and
This is a Joker moment.
It is.
I'd rather go back to editing the Wonder Woman 84 thing.
scientific ones. Because when everything humanity has ever created is burned like a bagel left in the toaster too long, nothing we will have ever done is really gonna matter.
You already said this. You compared the bagel to the sun expanding. That was the point. You just already. I've gone insane.
And all attempts to find happiness and purpose in the meantime are equivalent to closing your eyes and listening to a mildly interesting podcast as your plane hurtles towards the ground. But this, of course, isn't where the Wang family ends up.
How many metaphors can he make that symbolize meaninglessness of life? until he thinks we've got it. Until he thinks we understood the point.
Evelyn, inspired by Wayman's unceasing optimism and calls for kindness in the face of fear, decides that existence is something worth fighting for. And rather than using her homicidal pinkies to take out her enemies, she responds with a love and kindness that seems to target the fear and despair motivating her opponents. And maybe, not surprisingly, some recent French philosophers, the...
Oh no, more philosophers! No!
No.
I can't believe this! How many philosophers? No!
This is the kindness of the philosophers.
I think seriously, just he goes through multiple philosophers, introduces them with their philosophy verbatim, and then dumbs it down. But they're all borderline exactly the same thing. Yeah! It's why... Neb asked a good question earlier, which was about like why doesn't he just describe the philosophy that these people think? Why does he need to name all of them? Especially when there's so many. Just describe like the overarching philosophy thing, you know? It's so I don't know, man. This film, this video. The film is good. Fucking hell, I've gone insane. You can see I've lost my mind. The Mario movie does look pretty good, Dank Memer 74. I agree. It looks pretty interesting. I think it'll be alright, other than Chris Pratt. Don't you guys agree? Turns out.
Yeah, I agree.
Woo!
You're in his fucking video at least.
I don't wanna focus on this. There's 6 minutes left. He hasn't said anything. Okay, we can do it.
Children and grandchildren of the existentialists, so to speak, are using the spirit of existentialism to combat the metaphysics of nihilist despair. Okay, so...
Yeah, was that the third idea that Kamu shared that you were talking about earlier? I don't think you need to have another philosopher to explain.
If he adds another fucking philosopher.
Oh, there's still there's 5 minutes left in this video. It's gonna add at least 5 philosophers, 1 per minute. I'm sure of it.
This background picture is giving me PTSD.
Oh, is that No Way Home? It is, right? The mirror dimension? Maybe not No Way Home. But it is.
Oh no, it's used it with all the fucking philosophers all the way through.
Yeah, maybe it's Doctor Strange. But yeah, I think it is Doctor Strange. But I think he uses that for every one of his videos, actually.
Like this. The existentialist operated with the principle that the true nature of reality was basically unknowable, and trying to understand it would just make us miserable because we'd always experience the contradiction between our subjectivity and the objective nature of reality. Instead, we should focus on making decisions and taking responsibility for our own existence. And anyways, why worry about metaphysics when you can drink martinis? But contemporary philosophers...
I cannot believe it. He's bringing up another philosopher. He did it. He actually did it. 20 seconds after the last philosopher. Holy fuck.
I swear we've got to be getting close to 20 at this point.
He's saying the same thing as the Multiverse of Madness video, just making decisions. Yeah, basically, it's just like live your life and that'll feel better than not living it. Yeah.
like Alain Badiou and Quentin Miassou are both continuing to embrace the power of in existence while also embracing metaphysics. And while it's kind of a lot of complicated stuff. The gist is that while the existential is focused on the inconsistency between reality and our attempts to understand it, this newer crop of French smarties identify that inconsistency as a feature of reality itself. In one sense, it seems like there is a lack of freedom in the everything, everywhere, all at once multiverse, as each version of Evelyn seems borderline destined to carry out a specific type of existence.
Destined? What are you talking about?
Oh,
She even changes
What?
it. Like, there's the one where he talks to Wayman. She talks to Wayman, and she's like, you know, and he's like, oh, well, you know, in another life, it would have been great doing laundry and taxes with you. Like, she talks about, like, living a different life with him. Like, doesn't she get together with him at the end in that universe? Like, she changes things. She helps fucking get Rakakuni back in the other universe. These things aren't destined. Like, she's altering things in these universes. I'm confused. What? I think it means that they all end up unhappy. But Hot Dog Fingers isn't unhappy. Yeah, she gets unhappy when Evelyn takes control over every one of them. Like, I don't think these people are, like, actually, like, all of them are happy. Like, the one that was a chef, whatever, she wasn't unhappy. She just, you know, she became unhappy when she fucked over Rakakuni, the poor raccoon. Poor guy. We love Rakakuni. Or did he have the buzzer sound around the phrase taking responsibility? I don't know. It's Wisecrack. They add random shit. It's like MapPet videos where you need to keep like every visual being like all bubbly, like, you know, to keep, you know, viewer retention and the sound design for it as well.
But Beju would argue that while each of these universes seems to have finite limits, within each universe, there is a transfinite sense of possibility. Put simply, while we would normally consider the distance between the numbers 1 and 2 to be a finite limit...
No, it's infinite. What? It's not finite. What are you talking about? Who would say... Ah! Don't explain basic math. I know it isn't. Okay, whatever.
Within that limit, there is an infinite amount of numbers, i.e.
Finite became woke.
1.34,
Yeah.
1.5, 1.000980.
Oh my god, I can't...
yeah, we get it.
I can't believe he's explaining like the most basic of fundamentals of math, which is between any given number and any other given number, there's an infinite amount of numbers. I know that. I studied math, like high school math. It wasn't high school, it was like middle school. Fuck off. I'm tired. I'm so tired.
This is like when we did the Cinema Sins 2002 video and we had to explain the mechanics of making a sandwich.
Fuck yeah. This is kind of like that. Though to be fair, it's math. It's a little bit more advanced than sandwiches, I think. Which I guess it makes sense to up the game when it's Wisecrack and not Jeremy. So
4, 3, 5, 6, etc. In existential terms, this means that even if we're caught in a certain finite condition, i.e. we have hot dogs for fingers, we still have infinite possibilities within those conditions, i.e. we can learn to play the piano with our feet. For Beju, this means that novel things can happen and seem...
Did he just bring up another philosopher? Or was that one that he already brought up?
I don't know. I've
I've not paid attention to any of the names because it's pointless. I don't need to know their names to know their philosophy, you know? But whatever.
Mainly finite situations. And when these things happen under what he calls the 4 conditions of truth, art, love, science, and politics, we're capable of finding ideas that can give our lives meaning. And these ideas share something with existentialism, and that we can't simply believe in them.
I hate that he's not using the proper aspect ratio for this scene. He's cutting off like half the fucking rocks here, which are the characters. You don't do that. So stupid. I can say Decimals 2, get me a 2 YouTube sponsor. Yeah. Is that all it takes?
Like they're true or false. Rather, we need to take responsibility for the consequences of these ideas in our own lives. At the end of the film, Evelyn and Joy's futures aren't certain just because they've decided to avoid annihilation by bagel. They'll have to stay faithful to...
That's a sentence I don't think anyone ever expected to. That's what related to the video. Just find it funny, like how certain media can make you say things that you never expected to say. Oh, you know, their futures aren't certain because, you know, they avoided annihilation via bagel. That's why I love film.
Neb saying, I think the Wisecrack audience are all stoners.
Yeah, that makes sense.
To their decision each day as they continue to find meaning in their lives. And Miyasu argues that rather than reality being either a chaotic, meaningless mess, or a well-ordered system of necessary truth and causation, it is both contingent and necessary. Or as he puts it, the only necessity is contingency. To put it in terms
You didn't need to quote him directly. Whatever.
a raccoon chef could understand, it's not that reality
Oh my god, stop dumbing down things. You already explained it like 3 times.
doesn't make sense because we're not capable of understanding it. It's that reality simply doesn't make sense in a clearly logical way. It's basically a metaphysics reverse engineered out of existentialism.
Fairly certain you mentioned like French philosophers that said this like 10 minutes ago in the video. I'm 90% sure you've already said this. But with another philosopher, so now I guess it's a new, new point. I love philosophy. What's the line from The Good Place? This is why people hate moral philosophy professors. Yeah, it applies to Wisecrack.
And this view of reality seems to be there in the scene in the movie that really made me cry a lot.
Here, all we get are a few specks of time where any of this actually makes any sense.
Here, Evelyn and Jobu are able to acknowledge that reality doesn't make sense, and at the same time, there is space for them to create their own meaning and purpose.
Then I will cherish these few specks of time.
And Everything Everywhere All at Once seems to be saying precisely this. That
We got here. Finally made a point. Everything everywhere all at once seems to be making the point that that these 150,000 philosophers made, that you can find meaning in meaninglessness. So well done. Wisecrack has bored me to the point of being sleepy. Good night, you bastards. Good night, Doug Memer. Thank you for enduring this video with us.
that even though the universe doesn't have any inherent sense of order or meaning, that within the context of these seemingly random contingencies, we are capable of creating meaning. And when we get scared or feel stupid because reality and existence don't make sense to us, problem isn't us, it's that reality itself is kind of a mess. So does Everything Everywhere All at Once end up confirming that the universe is inherently meaningful and that if we just look hard enough...
I don't think a film can confirm something that deep about the reality of life and the universe. I think there'll probably be some like theoretical physicists that would do that. But if you want to say that, sure. Rather than confirming, I would more say that's the point the film is making. But you know, maybe the Daniels, they just know something about reality that we don't. It's like the character in The Good Place where he got so high on mushrooms that he was able to see the afterlife, and so he knows exactly what he needs to do to get enough points to get to the good place when he dies. It's not a spoiler, that's said in the first episode. It's just funny, because that's exactly what he did. He got high and he saw the afterlife.
Meaning and truth will be right there waiting for us. Absolutely not. But the film isn't coldly embracing nihilism. Instead, it seems to be taking the route of arguing that just because reality doesn't come preloaded with meaning doesn't mean that we can't create truth in our own lives. But what do you all think?
I think you took way too long to say something that would have taken you like 30 seconds. That's what I think, Mr. Wisecrack.
18 minutes just for something I could have watched a fucking film for.
Yeah, it's like, I think because like this is the thing we said in our coverage of the film, and we took a few hours talking about the film, but we said like, you know, this is the theme, and what we talked about was how the theme of the film is supported by the events, and how those events tie really well with the characterization and shit like that, you know how that's like not the same thing as just repeating the point. That is just, yes, this is the point the film is making. Let me talk about how this philosopher also thinks the same thing 1,500 times in a row. I'm tired. What does it mean to create truth in one's life? Just find meaning of your own. Like, if life is meaningless, all the meaning that has is from your own perspective. So therefore, the truth you create is the meaning you apply to your own life. It's what you strive for. It's what you find happiness in. So that's what he means.
Is Everything Everywhere All at Once a necessary tonic for a time when reality feels pretty warped to begin with? Or were you just wondering when the superheroes were going to show up?
I think there's not a single line in any video I've ever watched that hurt me as much as this one just did. Jesus Christ. Okay. I was not hoping for the superheroes to come in. Actually, I was actually pretty happy about the film the way it was. Not gonna lie.
Let us know in the comments. Thanks to our patrons for all your support.
Okay, yeah, Patreon, whatever. Woo, we did it. Woo.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I am broken.
Me too.
That just broke me.
Fuck no, that was miserable.
We can let the beaver eat it's cabbage. It's fine. All right. Well, we had more videos. I'm so tired. I think that video broke my brain. I think we're good for today. Jeb, after all, didn't show up. It's it happens. Were you gonna say something, Tim?
Oh no, I just sighed.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's a fair reaction. Yeah. Jesus Christ, man! This is why Wisecrack annoys. We should. I was gonna say we should watch one of their older videos just to compare because I think their older videos are good, but I think we're too too brain dead at this point. I don't know. Let me see if I can find an interesting one though, because I hadn't prepared their older videos because I was like, surely we will have enough to talk about, but I'm so tired. Oh, apparently they made a video today called "Bad People, Good Art, What Now?" and the thumbnail is Justin Roiland and Rick and Morty, which is an interesting topic.
Good.
Hold on, let me scroll back their channel a few years. Give me a sec. But fucking hell, yeah, I'm so tired of the way Wisecrack makes videos. Like, it's just, oh, here's this one philosopher, like, these, like, 1500 philosophers I like. Let's just, like, shove them into, like, this video about a film and barely talk about the film itself, you know? It's kind of, it's tiring because they don't really make a point. They're just like, oh, look, we know philosophy, rather than, you know how philosophy can apply in media and how this media explored this philosophy well or it did it poorly. Like, I think that's way more interesting, right? Because I think that's what I said in my video, that I really like the idea of exploring how deep or dumb something is into how, like, what type of idea or theme or whatever a film or show try to explore. Because, you know, they have the Deep or Dumb series, which is the one I covered in my video, where, you know, it explores these things and it is actually, like, analyzing how well the film stays consistent with that type of philosophy or something like that. Like, rather than just being like, oh, this is trying to do that philosophy, and just, like, focus more on the philosophy itself rather than what the media is doing, you know? I think it's a really weird thing they do. Hidden Meaning, Sausage Party. I don't think we're watching this one, I'm afraid, Neb. I'm trying to find something interesting. But yeah. Shit video, got him. The Philosophy of Deadpool. That could be an interesting one, honestly. 6 years ago. I think that was back when they were still good. Are games ruining gaming? Okay, that's an interesting video title. But yeah, what does chat say? Rick and Morty is the peak of human intelligence. Oh yeah, for sure. I think Jared was the guy that left Wisecrack and left this random in charge. Oh yeah, was that guy that actually knew what he was talking about? I don't know if his name is Jared, but it probably is. I trust chat. But yeah, he actually seemed like he was actually, like, a good writer in terms of, like, making videos. So look, there's a 6-minute video about the hidden meaning in Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's alright for us to cover. You guys okay with that? Covering that?
Mm-hmm.
I assume that's a shrug.
Yeah, I'm just picking my brain up and my ear holes now.
Sure. So let me put this video on. Hold on. Let me do the thing with the thing so it doesn't look shit for the people in the audience watching. Because I hope people don't dislike it. I'm just filling time. Hold on, give me a sec. Okey-doke. Alrighty. Loot Pets. This video is sponsored by Loot Pets. It's like one of those loot box things, like in like Loot Crate and shit, that all died because they were too not, like, financially viable, probably. Anyway, let us watch this one. What? Hidden Meaning in Guardians of the Galaxy Earthling Cinema. So this one is an old video. I also think Earthling Cinema is, like, the one that is, like, it has a, like, the alien character hosting their
Yeah,
videos.
I remember this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
This video is sponsored by Loot.
So it isn't Jared, but still, it's around the time they were still good, so we'll see.
The monthly subscription service for pets and the people that love them.
Star Wars The Last Jedi, what went wrong? I think that video is... Anyway, we've seen this.
Greetings and welcome to Earthling Cinema. I am
Yes,
your
it is
host,
indeed.
Garrix Wormuloid. This week's artifact is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Jesus Christ, why is the thing so destroyed?
The sort of idea, I guess, is that it's like a old relic that they've dusted up, like a, and now like, I guess like they're from the future and then like trying to dissect something from the past and shit, but they're also aliens at the same time.
Oh, okay, sure. That, sure, yeah. Alright.
Grieving stepchild of the Marvel Universe, and proud father of the enduring genre known as milk every obscure piece of intellectual property for franchise potential even if it kills us, which, as we all know, it did. The film follows an Earthling named Peter Quill who is too busy jamming out to Spotify Preem to notice his mother is dead. Another thing he doesn't notice is the ship full of space pirates that comes to abduct him for no apparent reason. Smash cut to 106 years later, and Quill is something of a space pirate himself, stealing paperweights.
So is this just a comedy video? Because if it is, then it's not really the kind of thing I'm looking for, I think.
I think they like do like a comedy thing first and then analyze it.
Alright, let's see then.
And whatnot. He tries to sell the paperweight, but there's a bounty on his head, and before he knows it, he's being attacked by a raccoon named Rocket, a tree named Groot, and a sexy gremlin named Gamora. The fight ends when they all get abducted by the circus. Once in the circus, a skinless carny named Drax tries to shiv Gamora because she's like this with some goth guy named Ronan who killed his family. But it turns out Gamora is more like this with Ronan. So Quill uses his human powers of butting into other people's business to suggest she help Drax bring Ronan down instead of getting killed. They escape to go try to sell the paperweight again, since that worked so well the first time. They travel to a giant head in the sky, which Earth poets called the Man on the Moon. There, they meet the architect. I mean the collector. He opens the...
The architect? What's the joke here? Is it... I don't get the joke. Maybe it's a Good Place joke, but I'm not sure. Unless it's a Matrix joke? I don't know.
Paperweight and finds an Infinity Stone, also known as the same MacGuffin that's in every other Marvel movie. As the Wild Thornberrys once said, handle with care.
Okay, just gonna pause for copyright, because music.
To keep things moving
is,
along, Ronan
Matrix
arrives
joke.
and steals the paperweight back. Gamora's ship gets blowed up, and she floats in space for a bit. And even though Quill hates letting other people borrow his stuff, he lends her his favorite air helmet. As a last resort, they contact the only people they know who have a car, these donks. Ronan puts the Infinity Stone in his hammer, giving him the first and only super powerful hammer in cinematic history. The space pirates and the space...
Fuck, okay, this is actually funny. I'm sorry, it's a good recap.
Police try to surround the bad guy ship like so many pigs in so many blankets. But this little piggy wants to go to market. So Rocket cries roast beef, and they all go wee 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 all the way to whatever planet they crash on.
Xandar, how dare you not remember? It's super important. It's in Guardians, not the Guardian. It's in Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. So, I'm sorry, but this shows the level of importance of Xandar. It's not like it was destroyed off screen by Thanos in Infinity War, you know. Anyway.
Groot keeps everyone safe inside a wicker basket, but gets destroyed by his increasingly complicated identity issues.
We are Groot.
Quill teaches Ronan how to nay-nay, then takes the Infinity Stone as his instructor fee. And in a stunning twist, it doesn't destroy him because of the power of hand-holding. The space police give all the main...
Bit more than that, but yeah.
characters a full pardon.
Thank you.
And Groot reincarnates himself as an inflatable dancing man for a used car lot. Guardians of the Galaxy is a film permeated by tragedy, and I'm not just talking about plot holes.
There are not... Okay, we'll see. I love this video. It's a shame this video was one of the last videos they made on this channel. True.
Nearly all of the film's main characters have experienced horrible misfortune. Quill's mother dies of disease, Drax's family was murdered by Ronan, Gamora's parents were killed by Thanos, and Rocket is plagued by a special kind of existential angst known as Frankenstein's disease.
I didn't ask to get made. I didn't ask to be...
Whoa, was this an actual analysis of the film? Oh my god, we did it. We actually got it. Okay, we did it. This is actually, yeah, he's correct about this. This is they're all suffering through some tragedy or like existential dread over their past lives and trying to find some sort of meaning through like just be just being bad people, try to get what they think they're owed by the universe. Like Rocket thinks like we don't owe these people anything. It's yeah, well done, video. It's correct.
Torn apart and put back together over and over and turned into some little monster.
Oh man, what's his name? Brian Cooper?
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper, not Ryan. Yeah, Bradley Cooper. He's so good as Rocket, man. His delivery there was so good. The drunken slurring words and shit.
2 is pushed to radical zealotry after witnessing his entire race near extinction, just as the Galapagos tortoise was before him. Yet despite the film's grim reality, Guardians of the Galaxy maintains a cheerful tone by way of its soundtrack, an assortment of 1970s and 80s.
I'm gonna pause just because the music in the background would definitely get us copyright claim. But yes, the use of the soundtrack really helps. And it also, because obviously it helps with the film keep the tone, but it also helps as a way to characterize Quill of wanting to listen to that music and remember, you know, his life on Earth, his mom, and everything that made him feel good before, like, he was thrown into this absurd reality that is, you know, living in space with a blue man, and all his other like fucking thief friends. So it really helps his character to like show that like he uses that as a way to keep himself in like a good mood and to be like confident about his own life, because if he actually like stops and thinks about it for too long, it'll get like very it'll be a lot for him. It's obviously very traumatic, and the second film makes a point of that quite a bit. So yeah, good shit.
80s songs primarily from Earth. These classic jams transform a spooky cave into a nightclub, and an inhumane torture scene into a nightclub. Quill's most prized possession is his awesome mixtape, because as Quill says, dancing is the greatest thing there is.
Gonna pause just for the copyright, but he's still correct in making a good analysis of the film. It's amazing.
It's the greatest thing there is.
Clearly, he's never listened to any late-period Ryglar and the Kravdavlians. This frivolous attitude also manifests itself in the film's comedy. If a scene approaches potentially toxic levels of seriousness, it is often undercut by a moment of levity.
I like your knife, I'm keeping it.
That was my favorite knife.
Indicate.
I mean, that's a weird example to choose, but I kind of agree, but I don't think it undercuts in a way of like it actually hurting the film. It undercuts it in a way where it's like it's keeping the tone consistent, but the film doesn't never undercut its serious moments, intense moments with like undermining like what it means, the tension of it. Which use the word undercut, but it's not wrong. Every scene in this film is trying to keep that level of levity despite how serious situations may be. So yeah.
A cosmic need to laugh away the pain. Like this. Ha, ha, ha. When Quill dramatically displays the paperweight as a symbol of significant power, he drops it, as if it were nothing more than a little ball to keep papers from blowing away. Later, when the Guardians share a poignant realization of their impending self-sacrifice,
I will be grateful to die.
I'm curious what he's gonna say, because I really like that Rocket line, because his cynicism is a big part of his character, and the second film especially explores that with him just like not, you know, wanting to take things seriously, the situations he's in seriously, because, you know, taking it seriously means that there are actually stakes, that there are people he cares about and things that he cares about doing, rather than just him doing it for the hell of it, which is what he wants to put forth. Because if he actually cares about things, then there's a risk of losing them, which is the second film, which makes the point of that, of him pushing people away because of that. I really like the Guardians films, chat. I don't know if you noticed, but it's good. It's good. I wish he would have played the "Nothing Gets Past My Head, My Reflexes Are Too Fast," because it's funny in the context. Next movie, Mantis gets knocked out, and he just says, "Mantis, look out!" afterwards. Yeah, it's hilarious. Though obviously this video came out way before the second one did, I think, because actually I didn't check. Oh my god, I should have checked. Let me check. Here we go. Oh, 7 years ago. So yeah, most definitely, because the second film came out in 2017. This one came out in February 6th, 2016. So yeah.
Among my friends.
Rocket comments on the fact that they're all standing up, something only jackasses do.
Bunch of jackasses standing in a circle.
But if a flippant attitude is the film's attempt to deflect tragedy, friendship is its long-term solution.
It was pleasing.
Oh, that's a good line. Okay. So it's not saying that the comedy is undercutting it, but it's actually a way to make the film like deflect the tragedy, which is kind of the point of like trying to find some meaning beyond it, and it finds it through this comedy and the friendships. Whoa, man, how's this video actually like really good? We just watched like one of the worst videos we've ever covered on ECUM, and then we get to this. Wow.
To once again have friends.
The Space Police are able to become more than the sum of their parts by linking up, evoking connects, an Earth Children's game played amongst friends. And our heroes use a similar tactic to endure pain, break the cycle of violence, and by their powers combined, summon Captain Janet. You see, when it comes to confronting the horrors of a bleak and violent universe, there are two options. You can either let it consume you and seek vengeance, or you can laugh it off with friends. Me? I choose the former.
Fuck, okay, that caught me off guard. But, man, this video is so good. He actually completely understands the film, and he's making, like, super, like, interesting commentary about the meaning of the film and everything. Man, what a... Wow. Wisecrack. What a fall from grace.
Every time. For Earthling Cinema, I'm Garrick Swermuloid. Accessorize your dog pool with glorious swag from this month's Pets Crate theme,
Is that actually...
Dead, with fun items from The Walking Dead.
Is that actually a thing? Because this seems like a parody. It seems like the kind of thing that a Red Letter Media would do in the, what's the name? Nerd Crew.
It might have been real. It might have been real.
Deadpool and more to get your puppy's tail wagging. You only have until the night of February 19th.
Yeah, this is definitely real. But that's funny because it sounds exactly like the kind of thing Nerd Crew made fun of. Yeah, I don't really blame Wisecrack. They're getting sponsored by something like nerd culture and shit. It's kind of famous for it. Because a lot of like the Loot Crate and shit like that was big during, that time, 2016 especially, but they all crashed and burned because it was not a viable financial business. But anyway, man, that video was good. I'm actually, wow, okay. Like, it was a 5-minute video, but he said so much about, like, the actual meaning of the film and the exploration it does with all these characters, like, as an ensemble. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. As Owen Wilson might say.
And he didn't mention the word philosopher or bring up a single philosopher.
Yeah, he didn't bring up a single philosopher. Oh my god. And he still talks about the nature of tragedy in this film. But he didn't need to bring up 16 different philosophers to explain it. Wow. That's almost like you don't need to bring up like hundreds of different like sources to actually make a point make sense. You can still like make an argument for it. And if your argument's well founded, you don't need to have like someone with authority, as I might say, to confirm your argument, which is, appealing to authority. I remember one of my friends bought one of these crates and it never came. Really? That's hilarious. But yeah.
Amazing.
Wow. We did it. We've covered Wisecrack. I hope to not really do it again. Though I wish Jab was here, so we might do it again just to have Jab on one of these. So I'm sorry, Tenant Zod. But... Look, I made you watch She-Hulk. Wisecrack can't be that bad. It's not She-Hulk level.
True, She-Hulk didn't. She-Hulk didn't bring 20 philosophers to explain the nihilism of twerking.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think that's all we have for today, folks. I know it's a bit of a weirder stream. Took us a while to figure out what to cover this week. Took us a while to we didn't really. The topics we covered were a bit varied, and the stream just kind of went as it went. We didn't really plan it all that much, which, you know what, it was a fun stream. I still liked it. Just, Jab not being here as well has made the stream be a bit weirder as well. But yeah, that's I think that's all we have for today. You people who want to watch Flash season 9, a reaction to it, first one's coming out tomorrow at, let me think of the time, 8 p.m. British time, GMT, so you can do whatever the time zone difference you want to figure out when that is for you. And yeah, it's with Madvik and Sheev. It's fun. And then episode 2 probably coming out next week. It depends on how long I take to edit my Ant-Man and the Wasp video. My part 2 of the Ant-Man video. But yeah. Also, if you guys didn't know, I made an Ant-Man video, so you should check that out. It's good. The video, not Ant-Man. Yeah. Also, I've been streaming Lego Marvel Superheroes with Madvik, so this is probably something you guys want to check out also on my channel. I think that's it. I think that's all we have to say. Yeah, okay. So we'll catch y'all next time when we cover something with Jeb here, probably, we hope. So, yeah. Goodbye, people.
Yeah. Bye-bye.